Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for January 15th, 2026. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 6:01 PM. And I'm going to ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Of course, June Daly here. Andrew Lou Millard, I understand will be coming momentarily.
She will.
Diane Jorsey,
Here.
Timothy Zigmont,
Here.
Ann Rogan,
Here.
Dawn Veely.
Here.
Scott Hamel as
Correct.
alternate, Don Dyken,
Present.
and alternate Steve Yella.
Here.
And because we're missing Mr. Hamel tonight, I've already discussed it with the alternates, and John Dyken drew the short straw. So he is going to be the stand-in for Scott Hamel today. Warp speed, Scotty, right? All righty.
Commissioner Millard is due. I think for the remaining items, you have a quorum without anyone seated for those, so I don't think you need to see
Okay,
the alternate for until she arrives, but that's at your discretion and choice.
okay. Well, I'll tell you, you were at next up is the approval of the minutes. So Mr. Biella, why don't you seat in for Andra Millard until she gets here, okay? All right, thank you. So the approval of the minutes, and this is November 13th, 2025. It was a special meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Were there any corrections that were needed? If not, a motion to approve by Mr. Zigmont. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Jorsey. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved. November 20th, 2025. We have the minutes submitted. Has everyone had a chance to review them? And are there any corrections?
Make a motion to adopt the minutes for the November 2025 regular meeting.
Okay,
I'll
Mr.
second.
Dyken has the motion. Ms. Jorsey has the second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved. December 11th. Any corrections?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Rogan. That leaves Ms. Daly to have wait a minute, were you here? Yeah, okay. She has the second. Okay. Further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, so moved. It was a nice blend. We got a lot of people involved in that vote. Thank you very much. Adoption of the calendar is not needed, as we've already done that. And the election of officers will be held at the first February meeting.
The calendar has September 17th on it. That's Berlin Fair.
That was deleted at the last meeting, so in your motion at the last meeting, you deleted the November, the September.
It was on this list, that's
You
all.
believe the November 5th meeting,
Yeah, because that's on election day.
that was
Okay.
done in the minutes and was.
Okay.
in the-
Okay,
Okay.
just reading with it.
Well and fair. But thanks for bringing that. This way I'll just update this one here. Okay. All right, receipt of new applications and scheduling of public hearings as required. The first up is the subdivision application of Paul Pryor Jr. for a two-lot subdivision at 0 Heritage Drive, MBL 25-1-17-15K1 in the R46 zone. And this has to be opened by March 21st.
I have added a suggested date of February 5th.
February 5th to open this.
Have enough time to run the legal ad because there's an extra Thursday
Okay.
meeting, so there is time, and it is a two-lot subdivision, re-subdivision actually that was expected.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to schedule the public hearing for February 5th.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so Ms. Jorsey has the first and the second belongs to Mr. Zigmont. Further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved. Now we have the site plan application of the Gardens at Cheshire LLC for the proposed greenhouses totaling 42,538 square feet to be used for plant storage, along with site improvements and the relocation of an existing conservation easement with gravel parking lot at 2215 Chamberlain Highway, property of NJ Development Holdings Group LLC in the POD zone. And we have a must-decide date at 3/21.
So as with this application as well as the next one, they're both site plan applications or site plan amendment applications, so scheduling of a public hearing is not necessary. I would ask that the commission allow the staff to schedule on an agenda based on continuations, workload, and department analysis of each of the plans.
I will make a motion based on staff's request.
Okay, motion by Ms. Jorsey. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Rogan. So just for clarification purposes, if I can. So items B and C, we're just voting on B. And because this was a pending application already before your department,
No, they're site plans, not special permits that or subdivisions that require a public hearing. They don't require a public hearing,
okay,
so we don't have to notice them. They
Okay.
will appear on the agenda. So
All right.
typically, a couple of, probably a year or two ago, we added the receipt of applications in the scheduling as necessary. And really, that's the scheduling for the public hearings for
okay,
notice. The site plans themselves are, all applications, but are dependent on both what happens at your public hearings. Do you have a lot of them carried over? Well, now it's not gonna fit on the agenda. We still have time. We can maybe do the second February meeting from the first February.
okay,
Or there's, department comments and staff comments are lengthy.
mhm,
If you already have it on the agenda, you end up postponing it.
mhm.
If we can get some of those items rectified before we add them to the agenda, or if there's no issues and we can put them on, because it should be quick and easy, then
Okay.
that's just that discretion of an agenda itself.
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I understood
Yeah.
what the process here
We
was.
want you to know what's coming up, and that's why we're
Okay,
at the receipt of new applications, so you could see, you get phone calls, you get.
Yeah.
Is it even necessary for us to make any motion? I mean, we just need to be notified that it's
Yeah.
coming, right?
No, scheduling of a public hearing necessary.
so
But even to make a motion for you to schedule it when you're ready, you don't even need that.
But it's fine that you do. It kind of
Okay.
makes it clear that it's with your permission that staff is doing it.
yeah, okay.
Do we have a choice?
I don't know, you already made the motion, so. All those in
Well, I think
favor,
the-
aye.
The point is, it's coming anyway.
It's coming regardless, but it's nice that we're in the loop here.
With all of them, we have to make, fit the statutory deadlines, for those decisions regardless of the hearings or whatever.
Yeah, all right, okay. So item C is the receipt. We have a site plan amendment application for Timothy Brignoli for the modification of existing non-conforming use site plan at 1406 Chamberlain Highway, property of Tops Garage LLC in the R86 zone. Now, this is a site plan amendment. Now, are we supposed to be?
That's
you
a
want-
It's fine. It does not require a public hearing.
Okay, so do I need Ms. Jorsey to make any kind of, do the same thing as
I
you
would,
did for the last?
I would say that it should be scheduled according to staff's request.
Okay, and do we have a second to that? Do we have a nod? Yes, okay, Ms. Daly has the second. Further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, so moved. Commission business. Wow, we're cutting right through, thank goodness. Bond release and reduction. First up is the request of Earl Wickland for the reduction of the erosion and sediment control bond from $18,865 to $5,548 being held for Nature's Edge. And bond reduction is here.
We did get, sign off from engineering.
Mhm.
So, fine to be reduced, that amount,
Okay,
or what's.
yeah, it looked like it was pretty
the
clean.
disturbance to the site.
All right. We have a motion?
I'll make a motion to reduce from $18,865 to $5,548.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, second by Ms. Jorsey. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, so moved. Request of Fran D. Cormier for the release of and reduction of the following bonds being held for D. Cormier Woods subdivision. One was the reduction of erosion and sediment control bond from $27,555 to $6,888. Two, the release of a sanitary sewer maintenance bond of 18,000, yes.
Handle them each separately.
Okey dokey. Oh, I thought I could just do a lump sum. Not my fault. Okay, item one, the reduction in the erosion and sediment control bond from 27,555 down to $6,888. Do we have any questions about that?
I make a motion to reduce the bond as stated.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, we have the motion by Mr. Dyken,
Dyken.
excuse me.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Sorry, ass. Dyken and a second by Ms. Jorsey. Further discussion, all those in favor? Aye,
Aye.
those opposed, so moved. The release of the sanitary sewer maintenance bond of $18,947. Are we all set with that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
All according to water control and engineering.
Pardon, say what?
According to water control and
Oh, everybody's happy?
are happy with that.
Okay, and Ms. Jorsey, I think.
And I was going to make a motion because our memo said that.
Okay, and all righty, and motion by Ms. Jorsey. Do we have a second, Mr. Dyken?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed, so moved. Release of the water main maintenance bond of $20,900. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to release the bond as stated.
Okay, Mr.
second.
Dyken, and then Ms. Jorsey has the second. Further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved. And reduction of the public improvements bond of $376,475 to the 25% maintenance amount of $271,741. That's a big one.
I'll make a motion to reduce the bond to $271,741 as recommended by staff.
Okay, and Ms. Jorsey has a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, go ahead, Brian.
Second by who? Ms.
Thank you,
Oh.
on fire. Give it to him.
Dyken?
Second.
Okay. And further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed, so moved. Request for the Thomas Kokomo for the release of the public improvements bond of $61,565 being held for 57 Southington Road, Christopher Way. That has had a long haul, that poor Christopher Way.
It has, and the street has now been accepted by the town.
Oh, my.
It has completed and project is finished. As far as requirements go.
And everybody's satisfied with staff on this one. Okay, thank you. Motion by the commission. Or questions or?
Make a motion to release the bond as requested.
Okay, Ms. Jorsey has a motion. Who has a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Daly has a second. Thank you. Further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so move. And, okay, so I'll stop here and break. And Andra Millard has joined us and it is 6:14 in the evening. And so I'll ask Mr. Biella to stand down. But thank you for helping us out. All righty. Okay, so we're at the bottom of the first page of the agenda, Andra. And this is the discussion regarding Berlin joining the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority, otherwise known as the CDMA.
CMDA.
CMDA?
CMDA.
No, CDMA.
See,
CMDA.
What does it say on the, I'm reading the agenda.
That part of
Sorry.
the legislation that just passed.
Connecticut
No, it's not a
Municipal
requirement.
Development Authority.
It's another foot in the door.
We heard of the letters.
We can do this.
Okay.
All right, hi.
So this was, Chris Edge will be presenting this, as I understand it, the request of the town manager and having brought this to town council.
Mm-hmm,
For just the discussion last month, I assume, Chris?
Yes.
yeah.
So I missed this part, so
So now you get to see live, like the rest of us. Thank you.
Chris Edge, 240 Kensington Road. Yes, so the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority was created by statute in either 2018 or 2019 by former Speaker of the House, George Simowitz. It turned into actual law in 2024. Connecticut Municipal Development Authority is a quasi-public agency that was set up to work with communities that have transit hubs like Berlin. If you know of or have heard of the Capital Municipal Development Authority, Capital Region Development Authority, CRDA. They've done a number of things, including monies for communities as well as low interest loans for developers. It's the same idea as that, except it would be for communities that have transit hubs like Berlin. Essentially what they've done is it took a while to get it up and going. They have approximately $60 million right now in place that they can use again as grants for towns, low interest loans. And really what we've done at this point is we've taken the first step, which is essentially is we've opted in to have a discussion with them. That's really what it is. What they're going to do is they will get in touch with us. They will get in touch with the planning office, with the planning commission itself. They're going to look at our planning and zoning regs, come back and say, look, we have a couple ideas we'd like to talk about with you to see if they would work. If we think they work, say, yes, we'd like to go forward. We could then become part of it and tap into the money. If they come back to us and say, we want you to do this, and you say, we really don't like that, it's no harm, no foul. We walk away. That's the end of it. And really what we had done was the last council meeting was essentially to opt in to have that discussion. Now, there's a couple good things about this. One, it's written in a very, very open way. Development, redevelopment, housing, there's a lot of different things they have in it. The word affordable is nowhere in the statute, which is a good thing. And really what it is at this point is once we move this ahead, there will be some discussions with both staff and the commission itself. And really what they're going to do is they're going to look at our zoning regs. The idea is they'd like to try to get more housing in communities. That's really the overall goal of it. The good news is we're basically in command of it because they're going to make some suggestions. And if we don't like suggestions, we say thank you, but we're not interested in doing this. Really what it is, it gives us the ability potentially to tap into monies for development. And the reason why I thought this made a lot of sense was Berlin Steel. I don't know what the future is. It is privately owned. But the good thing is too, is if it's possibility to have some monies from the state for either low interest loans or even some grants for the town to help us move this ahead, it was at least worth a discussion. The good news is, again, and I hate to say this over and over, but really it's no harm, no foul, because all we said at this point is we're willing to talk to you. That's the entirety of what we'd agreed upon. And then we made that very clear when we talked to David Kors, executive director. We're one of 33 towns that have taken this step at this point. And there's various discussions with the towns about where to go from here. So for you guys, it's more just informational because there's really nothing happening yet. Ryan's going to sign the memo of understanding to then say, yes, we're willing to talk to you. They'll then engage with staff to start talking about the zoning regs. And as that goes on, we definitely will keep you directly in touch. But the good news is this really is, it's an opportunity potentially to bring some money in from the state down to help the town of Berlin within a half mile of the train station is where their area that they're looking for.
So are you looking for anything from us or is this just like an
No,
information?
it's more informational just to let you know
Okay.
that essentially the first step again was saying, yes, we're willing to continue the discussion with you, which is what the council did. At this point, the next step is going to be having the discussion with staff and then coming to you most likely with their ideas or recommendations.
But what's the purpose of us? So we're not able to chime in on this at all with the council.
Right this second, no, there's nothing to chime in on. Because until they make recommendations to you guys, there's really nothing to chime in on. Because all we've really done is said, we're willing to have a discussion with you to try to tap into the money.
That's what the council's saying, but that's not necessarily what this board is saying. So in other words,
I would go question that same thing.
yeah, in other words,
Council is not the,
the land use board. I mean, they can enter in any kind of agreement they want.
and
However, I mean, this is a land use agreement. I would have thought that they would want to see whether or not we want to give it its blessing. The thing that the thing, as I read through the paper that was submitted, is I noticed that they talk about developing parameters for districts that are in the downtown within a half mile of your of your rail or your rapid bus station. So that means not only are you looking at a half-mile radius around the train station, but every time that bus stops someplace, is that now a new half-mile loop?
No, I think what they're talking about is major bus hubs like downtown in Britain.
Well, it just says station, so,
When we had discussions with them, the only area we looked at was a half mile within the train station itself.
yeah. I have concerns with this. I have concerns with our infrastructure. I have concerns with the fact that we have some really nice development going on there now. And what I like about that development that's happening now is that we have an active participation within it. And we have people listening to our design ideas. They may not fully adopt them, but they're willing to listen and to make the projects more doable for Berlin, more a part of Berlin. My fear is that you get into this board, you said that 30-something towns opted in. There's 169 towns in Berlin and in the state. So a very low number are opting in for this. And, you know, I guess some of the towns would probably need the help. However, I think Berlin on its own is doing a really great job. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, I don't see a reason for this. But Tim, go ahead.
I think we might be a little bit behind the ball on this. My understanding, and might be wrong, so I'm not, is there's a contract being negotiated on Berlin Steel right now. It's been for sale, the sign been out
Do you
there
have your
for a
mic on?
while.
So that,
Yeah, the sign's been out there for a while. So I think that my thing said, it says there's something being negotiated. So we might be behind the ball a little bit on this if a new owner is getting in there. Or potential new owner. And we have established our thinking about the area there
mhm.
through what we developed so far.
Well, yeah, we all have an idea of how we'd like to see the growth.
Right. So I don't know if we need the option from a state agency or not, you know, I mean, anytime a state agency or quasi-state agency gets involved, things get a little bit sticky.
Yeah.
You know, it's just thinking when I read this, and then that fast thinking. So I don't know. I think we should just study it a little bit then.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they're not asking for our opinion on it, which really kind of, you know.
if they wanna come to us and say what they would like to do, what they will do, whatever. I don't care about any presentation to us, you know,
Yeah.
and the commission as a whole decides what they want to do. You know, that's just reading this.
Anyone else have a chance to look through this, have feedback?
I just read through it. So, I mean, there's really nothing, we certainly can't restrain the chief executive officer from entering into the proposed agreement. I think, Chris, you're just trying to give us the heads up. There's really we have no input. You just want us to be aware of this process is
And
underway.
it's something where in order to move the conversation ahead, the chief elected official needed to sign a memo of understanding.
Right, exactly.
Done that. And now.
Oh, you have? Oh,
Oh, so,
Well, I don't know if he's done it yet or not.
well,
oh, I didn't,
He was authorized.
Authorized to do.
you know what I always say, nothing is for free.
And they will then connect with departments and this commission on
Hmm.
their thoughts, their recommendations. And if any of
Okay.
them look like they don't make sense, or if you don't like any of them, nothing has to go forward.
so the water's over the bridge at this point. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of you're just, okay, I just
The
want
horse is
to.
already out of the barn on that
All
one.
right, that's fine.
So,
Thank you, Chris.
My quick reading as well,
Yeah.
because I haven't been here to read,
Of
you know,
course.
to go into this, but
Yeah.
is that, it's it's given the availability for funding should a partner want to come in to the town for a project. So, and the process that was laid out by the state was a public hearing with the legislative body, which is the town council. It does reference that they will be certified zones, and zoning is purview of P and Z's. Certainly any development plans would still have to come through, and it would probably result with, without deep diving, in much like we have our village district
Mhm.
and you adopted regulations for development zones and for village district and all that. It's likely that any development would need to go through the process of making sure they fit within regulations that this commission sets forth with probably under a proposal by someone and or a consultant, and then moves on to a full, site plan, likely special permit review, et cetera, that would all still fall, as I understand it, under P and Z because zoning is your legislative charge.
Hmm.
But this is more financial aspect of it, and much like, I believe they're in the room, Newport, if there wasn't state funding available for those brownfields,
Mhm.
the downtown would look much different than it does today. And, might have demoed some of those buildings, but the remediation would not be, wouldn't have been very viable. It was marginal at best anyhow, so. I think that's where this is coming from, as opposed to usurping of authorities that go to different
Yeah.
boards and commissions. You just have to congeal both financing and that kind of thing along with the zoning and land use regulations.
Okay.
And
All right,
my
and-
thoughts on it were,
Quick summary.
Mhm.
if there's an opportunity for low interest loans or otherwise to make a project more viable. That was really what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Knowing the
Well,
fact
that's
that, and
understood.
if we'll look at Newport, when they came in initially, let's say their numbers hypothetically were 11 million, and they end up at 18 million. Well, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
And if the state had the ability to do some things with low interest loans, maybe that's a possibility. The other piece is the state is now looking at the very large train station parking lot and saying, okay, great. Do we need to have that many parking places? So that's another part of it as well. Again, where it goes from here, we're not sure. And really what it is, it's nothing but a discussion. This agency has the right to do exactly one thing, which is to have a discussion with us. They have no more right than that, because that was very particular what Ryan and I talked about, as well as with this town attorney, that is all this has done, given us the ability to talk to them about these monies. And if to tap into the monies, these are the things that they would like to bring to our attention.
Hmm.
And everything that comes from there will be your purview, because the planning and zoning is completely your purview.
Okay. All right. Ms. Daly.
In reading the document here too, and I guess one of my concerns was, and it's in quotes under step 3, likely to be substantially increase the production of new dwelling units. So I think, that concerns me a little bit with what their overall plan is or goal is based on some of the new laws in Connecticut. Sounds like it kind of ties in as a precursor. So that would be my concern about that. Anyhow, thanks.
Yeah.
One
No,
of my
valid point.
Because what is substantial, because New
HB
Bridgeport was
8000
eligible
too.
for this. What is
That
substantial?
makes a difference.
Oh, yeah, and that's part of the reason why, when I started talking to Mr. Corus, as well as manager, that was one of the big things, which is I wanted to make sure that substantial fits Berlin. Because if substantial that they have in mind doesn't fit Berlin, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
I would agree completely with you. Yes,
Chris,
Okay.
did the town council even see this? Did they get a chance to read this?
yes, we actually, Mr.
They read it and they went ahead.
Yes, Mr. Corus presented at a meeting, and then it was brought up at a future meeting for a quick discussion, and they did go forward to say yes.
When was the meeting where the vote took place? Was it the last one, and this, was it one last week?
Yeah, it would have been the January 6th meeting, I think would have been.
And there was a presentation at the meeting before that?
No.
At the first meeting in December.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Okay, all right, well, no problem, like,
So those tapes are,
And I'm-
as John, as Commissioner Dyken is alluding to, those are, those tapes, just like yours are on YouTube. So maybe the
yeah,
presentation will also assist if anyone wants to.
all right, terrific.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question here, and it's maybe something I shouldn't be. But
As long as you're using.
when a vote or a presentation is being to the town council or whoever, concerning P and Z issues, I think that at least our representatives of this commission, our chairman, vice chairman, whatever, should be notified to ask to attend that meeting too, for they can put in their voice. When I have a problem when the council does stuff like this and we get it
Yeah, after the fact.
after the fact. Okay, we should be put into the process on something like this right from the beginning.
Okay, I think that's all we have on that one, right? So, all right, thank you, Chris. We will then move into the public hearings. So do we have a read? for the public? Okay, go ahead.
Town of Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission Notice of Public Hearings. The Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission will hold public hearings at a regular meeting on Thursday, January 15th, 2026 at 6 p.m. The Town Council Chambers, Berlin Town Hall, 240 Kensington Road, Berlin, Connecticut. Interested parties may join the meeting and participate in the public hearings in person or remotely as provided below. 1. Site plan amendment application of HRP Hospitality LLC for a modification to special permit for Phase 5 hotel construction and use at 414 Berlin Turnpike, property of BT 2008 LLC in the BTD zone. 2. Special permit with site plan application of Deanna's and Demetris Mac Lobster King LLC for a to-go style fast food restaurant at 1176 Farmington Avenue, property of Kids LLC in the CCD-2 zone. 3. Text amendment application of Arbor Farms LLC to amend Berlin zoning regulations 11C agriculture to expand the definition of agriculture to include 11.c.1.a.i agriculture accessory services. Applications and related meeting materials are available at the Planning and Zoning Department, Berlin Town Hall, 240 Kensington Road. Dated this 29th day of December 2025 at Berlin, Connecticut. Brian Rogan, Secretary, Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission. New Britain Herald legal notices / classified advertising dates of publication Friday, January 2nd, 2026 and Friday, January 9th, 2026. Posted with Berlin Town Clerk, Monday, December 29th, 2025.
Thank you, Brian. The first up in public hearings is the text amendment application of Newport Realty Group LLC to amend the Berlin zoning regulations 5C planned residential district to allow for a minimum acreage for the PR1 development on 8 acres when the lot is contiguous to a previously developed lot in the PR1 zone and the combined acreage of both lots exceeds 20 acres. Okay, we've opened a discussion on this. Attorney Pentor or yes,
Just because I wasn't at the last meeting, but in reading the minutes and talking to participants, it seemed like there was some discussion and need to understand the process of when the types of applications and the application coming in. So after we had several pre-application meetings with possibilities for a parcel adjacent to another PR1 zone, and not only with this applicant, but with other applicants as well that were looking at this vacant parcel, we worked with the inquirers, including this and most recently this applicant, to suggest that they propose to amend the regulations, which would then allow them to proceed with a zone change application and a site plan, special permit site plan application for the development of the site without the zoning regulations being modified first. Then their plan couldn't be developed because they wouldn't have the parameters of the zoning regulations to work within. So that's why this text amendment is the first step of then the anticipated land development and rezoning like you've seen when you approved other PR zones. Most recently, the PR1 on the Shuttle Meadow Country Club. It hasn't been built out yet, but it was reviewed and approved by, I think most of you were on the commission at that time. So
Mhm.
something that's familiar to you. They, noting that, I think there was also some discussion about the whole northwest corner of the town. The OT zone is, you know, really specifically speaks to the campus of something like Northeast Utilities. But there is the PR1, I think it's PR1 development just to the north of this along Webster Street and this fronts what's the side street called? You remember?
Is that Colby?
Colby Road, which is in Rocky Hill.
Mhm.
Obviously at the line of Rocky Hill and I'm confused, which is along Rocky Hill. And of course, that development plan would also go to that town as well for their comment because it will affect their streets. But that's one of the reasons it wasn't a matter of going in for an overhaul of the OT zone because that's a lot of acreage.
Yeah.
Our zone is an overlay that's used over existing zoning. You did modify the regulations for the workforce housing to also have, allow for a parcel that's partially in OT, and that was because that was a split parcel between the zones,
Mm.
R3 and OT. So, without it being another whole planning project to look at that northeast corner of the town, and the OT zone and everything around it, I believe the farm to this large farm to the south has some deed restrictions on it for development anyway, so zoning has,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of other things that would go into any proposals that would encompass that land. So that's why we're at this process.
Okay.
And this process was kind of sanctioned by staff, of course, all under your purview regardless if you disagree.
Okay.
Thanks, Maureen. Attorney Richard Pentar, Newport Realty Group with this amendment. I think sometimes we have to, you as a planning and zoning commission, there's a zoning commission part and there's the planning commission part. So right now with this project, we're still in the zoning commission part, which is amending the zoning regulation that would allow for us to develop at least an 8-acre parcel as long as it was contiguous to another developed PR parcel. I don't want to get too much into the planning part of it, but there's an 8.9 acre parcel that abuts the Orchard Ridge Senior Apartments way in the northeast corner of town by Webster Street and Colby Road.
Mhm.
That's the end result. So I know Tim brought up the fact about what comes first, the zone change or the amendment. But I think the reason we discussed with town staff and the reason we came up with this plan is because once we have this amendment, then we can go into the planning stage, which is the mapping, which would also kind of dovetail with the zone change aspect of the project. So that probably would come in almost simultaneously, the zone change and the site plan application, if this is adopted, this amendment is adopted.
Yeah.
It would allow us to develop some senior housing on that 8.9 acre parcel.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, this is the public hearing. So you guys have anything that you'd like to ask of the applicant? I know that we went through the presentation. You brought the maps last time, which was very helpful to see. And anyone? All right. Anyone from the public who wishes to address the commission regarding this application?
Looks like you have a taker.
Yeah, I have a taker. Did we get the text?
Hello, Chris Edge, 240 Kensington Road. The over 55 ownership is something that we've been looking at for a while, and I would love to see it happen in town. I know I talked to someone else that had mentioned to me they really would like to sell their house but don't want to leave Berlin. So I think it's an opportunity here. The good news is this is something that Mark Lovely is really, really good at. And I know you've seen his work down by the train station, and I think if we were going to have a partner, this is a great partner to work with. So that's just it. But yeah, over 55, I think would be great to have, because I know right now we have Beckley Farms and really nothing else. So
Yeah.
making another one would be nice. Thank you. Guys.
You know, I'm just gonna, let me just interrupt now and just hold on to that, just because I don't have the text amendment here.
You have the staff report.
No.
It would have been in your last package, actually. We did the last package, but we can run it. And we can pull it up online anyway. We can pull it up.
Because I thought you sent it over. I thought the
But
well,
really, the only,
I thought they sent the document over with a today saying you'll have the hard copy. So I thought I would have the hard copy here to. Excuse me. Damn cold.
it's just a it's a footnote in the zoning chart
Okay,
is what is being
That-
modified.
yeah.
So it's not that the typical way we send you a typical
Okay.
amendment where you have the bold and underline, et cetera, because it's, the modification is a footnote, so it was highlighted. We're sending, it-
so,
Anyway, we,
so the text amendment,
bring it up if she can.
yeah,
And you
Yeah.
can see it.
so,
Um,
so basically this text amendment is just asking for the extension onto that 8.9 acres. That's contiguous with the other acreage that's already been
Yeah.
developed as such. And it's all pretty much, if I remember correctly, looking at the map, it's pretty much a corner. You're just extending that corner, but we're not disrupting the zone, the OT zone, which is attached to Northeast Utilities. We wouldn't want to step on that, that's for sure.
right, from-
That's very simple.
Yeah, it's a very, I can't,
I know, yeah, that's.
can you read it?
Says 8 acres.
anyway, you can zoom in.
It's basically,
Yeah.
it's all right, so it's basically the same,
Proposed text amendment, you highlight yellow.
yeah.
The area and bulk requirements for the PR zones. And then we have footnote 6, the first line, where we have the minimum area acres is 20 acres, but with footnote 6. And then if she scrolls to the bottom of the page, footnote 6, and you might want to zoom that a little.
All right, yeah, so that's just basically saying,
8 acres when the lot is contiguous to
I don't think there's any problem
previously
with that.
developed lot.
Yeah, let's
Well,
go with it. Well, we have to close the public hearing. Okay,
Like we said, this was our
It's-
understanding it was distributed in the last.
all right, so it's just that little footnote that's,
The staff report reprinted.
well, I mean, if this item is just on this, on this,
Is that, of course, it would affect any PR1 zone if another lot comes up where this is adjacent to another previously developed PR1 zone lot, I think.
but I think we already researched that and we found none.
Yeah,
That was my question.
Yeah. Last meeting, because you asked,
You know, anything but in another zone, the
Deeper
same
zone.
zone, right? I was questioning it because this one says 8 acres. Okay, if there's another piece that's 10 acres beside another place in the zone, right? That this one just says 8 acres. I would just take 8 acres out of there and say any piece that's connected can be brought to the commission and see if it can.
so you would strike the acreage out of the
Yeah, I
last
I don't know how to
that
explain it, but
subtitle?
any
Read that.
connecting acreage, they wanted to develop like a P, one zone, then they would be able to come in here and
Leave it in,
ask for that, you know?
Yeah, but we don't want to drag this on any more than
I
we
was
have
gonna
to.
say, so my concern with that is in my opinion, it's expanding, well, you can
Bless you.
change text amendment.
Yeah.
As long as it still
Loads of-
falls
right to the
within
ready.
what someone may be expecting to be,
So glad
what
you-
somebody may have
You're
said,
coming off of
oh,
cold too.
8 acres. I'm okay with that. I'm not showing up at the public hearing. If you take out that provision, I think that would, in my opinion, seems to be a substantial enough change that
Mhm.
may be problematic for appeal.
Okay,
Did I just hear?
I see the commissioners,
I-
doesn't seem to agree with that, then that's fine, that's your discussion to have. But I also wanted to point out that in our
Is
analysis,
this exactly 8 acres?
we did dis-
8.9.
Oh, see, this says 8 acres there. It's actually,
Yeah, but
be five,
okay, okay,
you know, it can't be less.
okay, it's a minimum.
if,
It's a minimum, so it really
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
but you know, the other thing, Jim, honestly, if we went down that rabbit hole, then we would have to probably have the whole thing reposted again because the text amendment would have to be rewritten.
No, I just understood, just
But it's a good-
changed it because he just said minimum of 8 acres.
Okay, is there anyone else?
I thought it was 8 acres only.
We find, and again, this was
Okay.
in the
Well, no,
days
I'm-
right before I left, so, you know.
That's okay.
But we only found that that's the PR1 zone. The others are, the other planned residential you have are PR2s and PR3s.
Okay.
So it really, as written, only affects one place that you haven't rezoned already.
Minimum.
All right. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment on this proposal? Whether they be on in person or in Zoom? No?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, motion by Ms. Drosy to close. Second by Ms. Daly. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved. Okay, next up is the modification to a special permit with a site plan amendment application of HRP Hospitality LLC for a Phase 5 hotel construction and use at 404 Berlin Turnpike. Now, I believe that you received a request from the applicant to postpone this?
Yes. we
Okay.
Received an extension to the next meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
we don't need a motion on that, do we?
Yeah,
Okay,
motion that it will be.
somebody want to make a
Yep.
motion?
I make a motion to continue item 7B to the public hearing to the next regular meeting of the commission.
Okay,
Continue or postpone? We're not open.
postpone,
yet.
we haven't,
Postpone.
postpone, we have to
Sorry,
postpone, yeah.
postpone.
Okay, we,
Kind of as just some clarification, we kind of transitioned to using that terminology because continued, and with modern English usage has muddied the waters with people not knowing if they were opened or not.
Not the,
Continue.
I understand it to mean continued meetings postponed. However, that is not how others interpret it in the modern era.
Yeah,
thank
so
God we're
that's
all
why
on the
we're
same
trying to-
People who
page.
don't talk like us in the 19th century, people who, yeah, I got it.
Hear ye, hear
I'll
ye.
second the motion.
The second by Ms. Jorsey. Further discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, so moved. Special permit with site plan application of Dean Dinays and Demetrius Mack Lobster King LLC for a to-go style fast food restaurant at 1176 Farmington Avenue, property of Kids LLC in the CCD2 zone. All right, so we have somebody who wants to do Lobster King.
Can someone
Is somebody
specify
here?
what building it is?
This building was originally built out as Average Joe's
Oh,
on the south side of Farmington Avenue. Switches. Next to Switches.
Oh, next to
Next to
Switches.
Okay, but is there a
We-
place for a drive-through?
Mexican restaurant there at one point?
I thought there was a Mexican
No.
restaurant going.
My question was,
So a number of years ago, the owner of the building did come in with a
no, you can't go around there.
And- to address parking at fast food restaurants because of the nature of to-go food now and et cetera, so that they could have that option because they zoning requirements and testimony at that hearing as well as other on parking requirements that made more sense in the required parking was reduced. And that's where this, now they have this tenant coming in, we've had several other tenants in the meantime.
Okay, do we have somebody here for the applicant?
I believe.
Oh, by Zoom.
So we're getting to them in a second.
Okay, no problem.
Um,
They're here.
yeah.
Dina's Aziz. Dina's?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I was doing fine. I was just looking at your last name. It was interesting and I was just trying to sound it out.
Excuse me, but could you bring your video up or is that not possible?
Yes.
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it's possible on this.
It doesn't give an option for the video, only the voice.
Yeah, it doesn't give an option for the video, only the voice.
Doesn't,
Actually,
doesn't have a camera on your laptop?
when I
No,
logged
we
in
do.
last time for the last meeting, it didn't give me an option for video either.
Yeah, because we have a camera. It's just the voice though.
Yes, it's not giving me the
We're gonna
option.
see if we can change the permissions. Hold on a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
We should require that people, they're coming before our commission, be here in person.
I know.
Where did I see that this was a drive-through?
All right, I guess that is not in connection with the way the meeting is set up, so, I think the chair would what just want you
Okay.
to present.
All right, well, so, the location of this is over by this, is this over by the switches?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is it right? It's in the same building as switches?
No, it's right next door. It's next to Mind, Body, and Soul. I believe it's
That's where the
a
drive-through.
To the
gym.
plaza?
Yes.
Okay,
It's in the Wickland properly.
okay,
Yeah.
all righty.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well.
We're gonna share the location on the screen.
Okay.
Is this going to have a drive-through?
No, ma'am.
So it's just, will people, can you tell me a little bit about your idea for the business? Are people gonna call in orders?
Yes, ma'am.
Or-
Yes, ma'am. It's mostly pickup. It's like a to-go style restaurant. It does have seating just because everything is made to order.
All right, so I am looking at a layout of the proposed layout for the Lobster King.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
it shows your front door entry, so I guess they walked, am I correct that the people walk through the dining room to a counter and order their foodstuffs there?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then they have the option of leaving or seating right there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many employees do you anticipate having on site?
Just two.
So two, like one would handle the counter and the kitchen and one in the kitchen, or?
No, one in the kitchen and one to handle the orders.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Is there do we know where the dumpster is gonna be for this?
And it's on this.
Yes, it's one located in the back.
Is that gonna be a shared dumpster?
No, ma'am. It's our own.
Okay.
Maureen, do you have any concerns?
We defer to, Alexa, because I did not review this application.
Sure.
Well, cursory review.
Okay.
I think that there's no site changes proposed. Sites, developed, you could see, we brought it up on the screen and there's some parking around the back as well. That was previously approved. And there, no site modifications. We will have seating, which is a requirement of fast food, this
Okay.
accessory to a restaurant use, or it's part of the restaurant use, which is what flips this into special permit use. Restaurant could just go in.
Okay.
Fast food, and you'll see, I think, yeah, she included the definition of fast food, which is, maybe as one of those other things that at some point, due to current practices may have to be revisited, but primarily served in paper, plastic, or other disposable containers for consumption within the restaurant or elsewhere, carry out or off premises, and anything, you can go pretty much anywhere and get something in plastic now.
Yeah.
To go to containers, so, it's a typical business model.
Yeah.
Point. Call ahead food.
Yeah. Can I ask what the hours of operation
Thank
are intended?
Yes, ma'am. 11 to 8.
11 a.m. till 8, is that daily?
On
Is that
Mondays,
every 7 days or 7 days a week, or?
we're deciding whether to have Mondays or Tuesdays closed, so it'll be 6 days a week.
All right, so 6 days.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission?
Just curious if you have any other location.
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Anyone else? Commission? Well,
Oh, just one question.
okay.
Do you have any other businesses in town or in the state?
No, sir.
Okay.
All right. And Tim, you had a question?
I just,
No?
if I could order a meal now.
No, you can't order anything. No, there's a workout
We'll
place
take
right
care of you
next door.
soon, Tim. We'll take care of you soon.
Yeah, Mr. Edge.
Said 240 Kent Road.
Okay.
I've been working with Demetrius and his wife for a handful of months. He has worked for other people for a while as a chef. He's been in charge of a couple kitchens. This is really his first venture into his own thing. He has a couple different twists on a couple different foods, and I'm excited to have him coming to town. I think, again, it's going to be more grab and go than anything, which has been very successful. The good news is it is a smaller spot he can start out at, and excited to hopefully he can make a nice run at it and give us a new option for food.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the public, whether online or here in person from the commission? Mr. Rogan,
I will make the motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
motion to close the public hearing by Mr. Rogan, second by Ms. Jorsy. Further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, on to the deliberations.
No.
No, wait.
Oh, we got one more.
Text amendment application of Arbor Farms LLC. How did I miss that? To amend Berlin zoning regulations 11C agricultural to expand the definition of agriculture to include 11C 1AI agriculture accessory services.
Madam Chair, I'm going to recuse myself from this one.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rogan.
Okay, so for the sake of transparency, I intend to sit in on this, but want to at least make the audience aware or state for the record that I am a farm owner in town. I also am a Christmas tree grower, which this property is engaged in Christmas tree growing. I think my participation is acceptable because this is a proposal that would affect all agriculture in town. The other thing, for the sake of transparency, I want to state for the record that my real job is to supervise the program that administers the occupational licensing for arborists, as well as landscapers, which might fit into what's being proposed as an accessory activity. And so I have maybe a unique expertise with respect to those activities for discussion.
And I say that I appreciate your honesty and, but I also appreciate, and I think the commission appreciates your expertise at different levels of the agriculture as you've worked with the Plan of Conservation and Development and have been an active member with the agricultural amendments that we've had along the way. So I don't think that there's any problem with this. Mr. Biella, I will ask you to be seated for Mr. Rogan in his stead. Okay, thank you. All right, so moving on, we have this text amendment. Has everyone had a chance to review it? I know we had a little bit of, oh, we have the applicant here. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, we had your presentation last go round. It was very interesting. And there was something that I wanted to ask you about the layout. And I just want to see if I get my hands on it now. I thought I had a picture of it. Oh, it must be in here.
Yeah, so included in the
Mm.
text amendment, or I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
I also included a application that was submitted to the zoning enforcement officer that was also signed off on and approved.
Mhm.
There is a rough site plan layout in that application. I'm not sure what page, but it should be in there.
I think it's the last page. It's always the last page.
Yes, yep, the last page. So that is going to be the intended layout of the property, which more or less mirrors the existing layout of the property, with exception of the structure on the property.
Are you addressing the farm building structure, the proposed?
That's correct. So the farm building that's on that site plan does not currently exist. That's something that I would like to build. But as far as the rest of the layout, there's a small little building near Chamberlain Highway that's pre-existing. There's a little garage in the back that's pre-existing, and
A lot of what you have on that property that's being proposed is already pre-existing, is it not?
right. So what I'm proposing, really, there's no added use to the parcel, with exception of the building. The activities that have been going on at this farm for quite some time are I'm just looking to continue. There's really nothing I'm bringing to the table that's really any different than what has been going on there,
Hmm.
with the exception of the fact that I have a tree service, and the tree service, I'm seeking permission to house the tree service on the parcel, with the understanding that the machines for the tree service will be running the farm. They kind of go hand in hand. So I sought permission from the zoning enforcement officer to keep my machines there. What I want to do with the farm is to expand on the tree growing. So continue with Christmas trees, but also grow some other varieties of trees.
Mhm.
Most specifically, I would like to grow arborvitae and have the ability to really tree spade them, dig them up, move them. And so I own machines that already do that. So I sought permission to keep those machines on site, because I can't afford to buy another fleet of machines to run a farm and my business. So that was approved. And the reason we're here today is because it was, I don't know if it was a lack of understanding on my end or his end or both, the zoning enforcement officer. He came back and mentioned that I would not be able to dispatch the tree service out of the parcel, which was a sort of a confusing. I didn't really understand that. I could keep my machines there, but I couldn't come and go, and so I'm sort of here to clarify that.
I don't know that I can.
You can.
You can. Oh, I'm so glad you've got your decoder ring with you.
So,
Mine's not working.
the zoning officer laid out, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was a pretty specific memo or response, was that that turns it into not a farm at the property, but you're a contractor shop or landscaping business that is a separate use. It doesn't fall into the use category as we understand the regulations to define agriculture, and therefore recommended that they pursue coming in with a text amendment to add supplemental uses to a farm's operations that allow that going elsewhere, running a business from the farm that's not the farm itself. Because it did include bringing in, I think at the time of the original, and again, I haven't looked at it in a while, this has been going on for back and forth for several months, was included possibly having landscape materials and not just mulch, but whether there would be blocks and all the other things that you might expect to see in a landscaper's yard. And we do have that as a separate use in our regulations. So that's why it was problematic with the way the regulations are written for, in staff's opinion, for a tree service
So-
to run from the farm that wasn't historically at that property. We do understand there are some that have, precede the regulations at this time or can be proven to not. And there are farms that were recognized in the POCD was actually, I'm kind of skipping to my report on this, or my additional comments, staff comments on this, but the POCD does speak to supplemental uses on farm properties being considered, and we're tangentially aware that some of the farms may be engaged in activities that have not been called to enforcement attention in order to pursue what their history was, how long have they been happening. I mean, most of our farms have been in town for
Long time.
decades, if not centuries, and therefore getting a history of, well, did you do that before or after this regulation came into being? Is it this, is it this, is
Yeah.
it this? And that's, not something that's been researched or pursued as an inventory of our farm activities. We do have, again, because of those supporting activities being encouraged in the POCD, the staff encouraged them bringing forth something that would be viable and workable. The specifics of this regulation, I would like to get into a little bit more, but I want to let you finish the conversation you're having now, and then I'll talk.
Okay.
It's appropriate. Then I'll talk to specifics of wording that we have some concerns with. I suspect the commission may have.
Okay.
If I may,
Yes.
just one thing I want to speak to, and I believe I mentioned it last time, but I understand the hesitation with like opening the door to having a farm become a contractor yard, and that's not my intention. I'm not seeking any sort of ability to advertise the tree service at all. This property, I want to remain agricultural. I want to expand the tree farm and grow trees specifically. I don't want to do anything behind the town's back, and so that's why I'm here seeking this permission. But I also don't want to have problems down the road either.
Well, no. Go on, but yeah, Mr. Zigma?
Yeah, I just clarification in my head. Are we talking about putting a structure on this property? Right, that's not there right now.
Yes, but that is not a site plan review of the commission on a farm.
Okay,
That's a zoning permit, building permit, zoning permit for a farm structure. I was going to point out that the plan we have does not locate that building. We don't know that it meets the setbacks and that it's going to meet the parameters of a farm building, but it is for a farm building.
what I've never seen before is agricultural support services shall occupy no more than 25% of the total parcel. Okay, 25% was for the business inside a structure. 25% of the business or inside the structure. I don't know where 25% of total parcel came from. because I don't remember that in the zoning regulations.
That is a proposed.
That's proposed.
All that
So,
is bold and underlined.
so what are we talking about support? What are we talking about support services?
That's what they're asking.
The building? Is that support services?
In my opinion, when the zoning officer would, or zoning would review the plan, we'd be asking them to define the use area of the supplement. I'm gonna use the term supplemental, use of the property. Just change that a little.
Well, I'm only questioning it because it's a
that-
large parcel, 26.26 acres.
No,
No, no.
no.
No, I'm sorry, I'm
This
looking,
is a very-
I'm looking at the wrong paper.
This is a 5 acre parcel.
5 acres, okay.
0.9
I was looking at the wrong application here when I looked for the acreage.
is the most northerly property in the POD
So-
zone and was looked at.
So
Is wise.
support services can only be 25% of 5 acres, right?
So I would, off the top of my head,
1.5 acres.
talk about that being for the vehicles and equipment and any storage materials specifically used for the tree service business versus the farm business. And we would, much like we do for, and which you are not aware of because it's been under the purview of
Okay.
zoning board of appeals
Oh.
for the past several decades, with automotive uses, when there's more than one use on a property for their auto license, we make them draw parameters of where they'll be using the auto use in order to get their license, because it has to be defined. So I think we would ask for the same type of thing to say, okay, our vehicles, equipment, machinery that's specific to the supplemental use will be in these areas.
But this is a,
But I'm looking at support services, agriculture, accessory services, that, assuming that's support services. Okay, and it says from processing agriculture, forestry, it's grown trees, organic materials storage, which they have a spot on this map for that, service related to tree cultivation, harvestings are permitted, and storage and garaging of equipment. Okay, so now we're talking a building with equipment inside, not outside. Okay, and that's where I come in to say, okay, what support services? Because if all these support services only could take up 25% of the parcel, they only can use 1.5 acres of their parcel, or acre.
The way I'm reading it, and again,
I'm just
totally, roll the
I'm not-
dice on this, but the tree cultivation and harvesting would be a typical farming activity. So that wouldn't be part of the 25%. And that's why I just kind of transitioned to using the term for the equipment, the tree service.
so
Vehicles and equipment.
couple of questions and one comment. So this is a proposed text amendment. The particular parcel is 5 acres, but this text amendment could apply to a 100-acre property. So that's something to,
that's another 25% of the total
well,
is.
that's my point. So for purposes of consideration, the other thing is that things like mulch sales, firewood sales where the firewood isn't harvested from the farm, those are more applicable to garden supply or support services. So would the area that the mulch and firewood processing, which might be outdoors, are those considered part of the 25%.
I think we'd be looking for your direction on that, but I would think so. Because if they're not from the site, if they've brought in, be redistributed, quite possibly. I don't know that they fit the definition, although that is an activity that has occurred on this property for historically, as I understand it. I don't know when that started. Or whether it would have been allowed at the time of the regulations. I believe they had stand one time that.
Well, that little building at the front was a strawberry stand when I was a little kid.
Yeah,
Um,
thinking they had smaller. foods.
Boy, that was a
Yeah.
long time ago, no.
It was a long time ago. God, prehistoric.
What is this?
So our town planner just made an excellent point that tree cultivation is certainly part of the definition of agriculture. What I'm struggling with is how is what you're talking about not implied in the current use as the current text as is? I know that you're concerned about being outside outside of those parameters, but it just seems to me like you can make this argument about many other uses in our zoning regulations. So, I mean, is the concern that you're going to get fined? You think you're going to get fined for what you're doing?
He wasn't allowed to. I'm sorry. So the zoning officer denied his permit for the tree service aspect of his business.
Because he felt that,
Because because
Holly
we
felt-
have that elsewhere in our regulations as a use that's not included in
all right,
the
I get it.
agriculture.
I get it.
And can easily become and is problematic. Landscape services have proven to be problematic in the zone
I'm-
they are allowed in. And also the expansion to contractor.
Maybe I
Yeah.
got lost in the explanation. I'm just trying to narrow down exactly what we're attempting to rectify here. So I appreciate that.
Allowing a use that's allowed other places, but not specifically allowed in this zone.
The opposite of what my concern was that this was somehow all of a sudden we're going to now be doing this everywhere because we're doing it here. It actually turns out we already do this for other uses. So I understand. Thank you.
And so my question again in the.
Yes, Mr. Zigma.
Yep. Agriculture support services are allowed only by special permit. Is there a special permit on this property already for support services?
This is,
If-
there are no, support services are not defined in our regulation. Support services or this type of accessory use is not provided for as in the interpretation of the zoning office in the regulations that it is. This section that they're proposing is a new section to be added to the regulations for support services. Or for, they're saying agricultural accessory uses.
So there would have to be a special permit
And
if this is adopted.
their definition, they do add the terminology, agricultural support services are allowed only by a special permit in zones where agriculture is allowed as a principal use.
So,
If I may, so, sorry,
wood
Yeah,
service,
go ahead.
wood services and stuff like that.
when I submitted the application to the zoning enforcement officer, I was under the impression that I would get the approval for the application and it would come with a special permit for the tree service. So I thought that there was going to be some sort of separate issuance. And when there wasn't, that was when I posed the question to the zoning enforcement officer about this. And that
Yeah.
was when I learned that there was, he mentioned the word dispatch was problematic. So I guess in a sense, 99% of what I was proposing is permitted, but the daily dispatching is what was problematic, and so that's what this is about. And then just to speak to the 25%, yeah, I do understand on bigger parcels that could have an effect. I believe was in recommendation by town staff, and I didn't have a problem. I knew it was only 1 acre. I have no problem with that as it pertains to my parcel.
Yeah.
I'm a very small outfit. I'm not, I don't need more space than that.
it's a zoning thing now,
I
and there's large parcels out there that have to be brought into concern.
And
And
if
that,
that's to be changed, I have
yeah,
no problem.
yeah,
Hmm.
I got more questions in my head than I should have.
Well, so for agricultural support services, other types of businesses that might fall into this definition could be florist shops, could be landscapers or pesticide application businesses. I could see somebody purchasing a franchise of a pesticide application business and make an association because of pesticide use being related to agriculture.
Hmm.
My gut tells me, yeah, you got to do whatever you can to support agriculture because they need to pay their bills. But my job teaches me to consider the unintended consequence.
Yeah.
And when you think of the larger parcels and the potential, I understand the scale of your business being small, but there are tree businesses that are huge. And so when you consider the larger scale properties, I mean, that's the potential that we're considering is all that I think we need to bear in mind.
Hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you think
Oh.
they have defined, they've proposed the AI, agriculture accessory services? Do you think that could be interpreted to include pesticide application businesses?
Sure,
Yeah, you think that?
because pesticide use would be part of agriculture. Another business type that might fit.
But then would it already, and I'm asking this out of just not knowing, so would that already be allowed for agriculture?
Mm-mm.
Already widen?
So like a mosquito control business or a landscaper that applies pesticides as part of their service. The arboriculture, our licensed arborists are allowed to do commercial pesticide applications under the license that they hold.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are, sir. I regulate them.
You have to get a special permit.
To engage in arboriculture, an individual needs to have an arborist license, and the arborist license enables the person to use pesticides commercially under Connecticut General Statutes 2361B.
I'm not sure who the gentleman is online, but just for the record, can you please identify yourself?
Yeah, my name is Coleman Levy. I'm an attorney and I represent the applicant.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there any other comment that you'd like to make, Mr. Levy, Attorney
Yeah.
Levy?
Yes, I think we're
Okay.
getting a little out of hand. I think historically, this piece of property has been used for Christmas tree growing and at the sale of firewood, loam, and mulch. And those three products were brought in from outside. They were not originated from the on-site location, and that's been going on for years and years. Primarily, Chad is going to be using the tree surface. He's going to be bringing in the wood to create the firewood. So instead of a third party bringing the wood, he would bring the wood. In addition to that, basically, when you talk about storage, he's using the same equipment. 90% of all the equipment is being used on the farm for agricultural purposes. And the only thing, no tree activity or business will take place on the site. The only thing is that one or two trucks will leave in the morning and come back in the evening. And the piece of equipment that's required is the scissor that you can go up in the air to cut down trees. But that's the extent of what equipment we're basically talking about. So the fact of the matter is there's not going to be any retail sale of any product by Moore and Tree. That's strictly an arborist tree removal business that the family has been in for many, many years. So there's a lot of concern. There's a lot of things that could take place, but they're not going to take place on this site. And if you wanted to eliminate or eliminate the wording, the 25% was proposed by the town planner. It wasn't proposed by Mr. Moran. If you wanted to reduce that and say that no more than an acre or an acre and a half can be attributed to that's not a problem whatsoever. And that would take care of the process, whether it was 100 acres or 200 acres or 50 acres. And secondly, the accessory use is not the wood. That doesn't come within the limitation of the 1 acre. Right now, the zoning enforcement officer signed off, and in fact, one of the commissioners mentioned that maybe you can all do it right now without any text amendment, because if you read the application and the Exhibit A attached, it addresses the Moore and what it's going to do, and it's signed off by the zoning enforcement officer. But I understand his concern, and that's why we talked to the planner in terms of coming up a wording amendment. And in addition to that, at the end of the day, no matter what, it requires a special permit. So the applicant has to come back to your commission to satisfy those requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
Commissioner Dyken, you have a question?
What is the remedy for, so the town's enforcement action against him, what is his remedy other than just seeking a text amendment? Could he appeal that to the zoning board of appeals under state statute? I mean, what's his remedy
Yes.
other than seeking?
He would have had to when he applied for the certificate of zoning compliance,
And what-
denied that portion of the application.
The zoning board of appeals did?
No.
No, he never went.
No, the zoning officer said you couldn't do the tree service it's not provided for in our regulations. And
That's my point. Oh, that's,
appealed to the zoning board of appeals within 15 days.
but why didn't you?
Because it was suggested that this would be a better avenue.
Do you see why it may not be? Because I'm suggesting maybe you might have been able to overturn this decision based on the logic I'm using, but I guess it's water over the bridge.
We were kind
Not
of steered in
necessarily.
that direction.
That's my only concern. I'm just wondering if you should have been steered into that direction first and see what the ZBA said.
I don't recall if that conversation
And it may,
went further
Lexa, do you remember?
because,
as an option.
yeah, because I mean,
Okay.
whatever the notice of denial, would that not have given him notice that he could within 15 days? Yeah. I don't know, counsel, if you were aware. I mean, I understand you were steered in this direction, but I'm just,
No.
if I were in your position, I probably would have appealed to the ZBA, but then again, I'm not, so.
Well, wait a minute. There was a judgment call at that time, okay? And the decision in consultation with the professional staff was to clarify the situation and come from a text amendment, okay? That's water over the dam right now, okay? And I think this is before the commission, and to be I think it's a reasonable request, and it's not going to impose any great additional burden in any way on the project, and it's going to give a new owner the ability to continue the agricultural use, which is very important to the community. But it becomes more of a viable business in order to do this. In fact, the tax bill has already been increased subsequent to the purchase of the property. So there's a significant new benefit for the town. I think this is a young man who is intent on maintaining the agricultural purpose and to grow that agricultural use. And it will end up being a benefit to him, and it'll be a benefit to the community, and it'll be a benefit to the town.
Understood. We just are aware of fact that from lessons learned that text amendments may turn into other problems down the road. And I'm sure you would appreciate that. But thank you very much for your input.
Well, I remember when Berlin was a complete farming community.
I enjoyed those days, very much so.
Well, but we're in a changing society.
Yeah.
So if I may,
Yes.
Jennifer Capola, counsel to the commission for the record, my recollection of what occurred procedurally is a little bit different. I believe that there was a certificate of zoning compliance issued for Arbor Farms, but the question was whether or not Moore and Tree could conduct any activity at the property. And I just went back, I just kind of checked emails because I don't have everything with me tonight. I was in another meeting. I apologize for being late. But I thought that it was actually offered by Paulie Morbidelli, your CEO, that if they wanted to apply for both businesses, he had gone through and he had explained why he thought that Moore and Tree could not operate at the property, that they could do that, and based upon if it was going to be a similar submission, that he would deny it and they would have an opportunity to go to the ZBA. Now, I mean, of course, the preference would be that what they want to do would be interpreted by your zoning enforcement officer as something that is allowed in the district, right? So I don't know that I see both sides of it, that this is, potentially the better path than, going to the ZBA and appealing a denial, because he was very clear as to why he interpreted. From my perspective, he was very clear as to why he interpreted why Moore and Tree could not conduct the activities that they desired to conduct on the property. So, there was a lengthy discussion of that, and I have notes on that, and I can go into more detail if you'd like. But I think that you do have an application before you. You've raised some issues. The question is, and I haven't been here for the whole discussion, but the question is whether or not there's specific language that I think, just to kind of move this along, that you think in the proposal can potentially be addressed to address the concerns that you have that you've raised ultimately. So perhaps some guidance to the applicant on that, and then it's their decision of whether or not they want to amend what they've proposed. Council has suggested to you with regard to the 25% an alternative that if you're unhappy with that specific portion of it, he's suggested to you alternative language in that regard. And there may be some other tweaking that may make the commission feel more comfortable.
Well, let me also make one other comment. Okay. the wording of this amendment was proposed by the planning office, okay? And my client acknowledged and said that that was fine. We're more than amenable to change the wording that makes anything that you are satisfied with. This is not a matter of authorship. This is a matter of resolution. So if there's wording that you want changed in there that will accommodate your needs and your thoughts and desires, I think that will most likely be perfectly acceptable to Mr. Mooring.
I just want to add in regards to that comment that council has made that representation previously with regard to the applicant's willingness to consider other language that the commission may be more comfortable with. That's something that he has stated previously on behalf of his client. Thank you.
Maureen.
If I may, I want to clarify or I guess retract what I said. It doesn't appear from quick review that the zoning certificate for the tree service itself was denied. It was the one he got, which is included in your packet, speaks to continuation of the tree farm there and the agricultural use is being allowed, et cetera, with what he's doing at this time. And it was in discussion. So we wouldn't have hit the point of appealing a certificate of zoning compliance that was denied. It doesn't appear as though that would have happened. I will also note, however, that we had enforcement actions in the POD zone for properties along this strip that had been bringing in vehicles and equipment, and some of you will recall the trucks that were there, contractors, staging, landscaping, lots of things that got enforcement orders, and the zoning officer did not feel he could treat this property different than he treated 4 properties down with enforcement orders, and ultimately those people sold off of that property because
let me also make
they
another
did not come in for a discussion with the town and what the regulations allow for before they pursued purchasing the property. This applicant certainly has and is trying to
Comply.
to fit the zone or fit the regulations. However, the mechanisms for doing so, our office found problematic.
Okay.
And just to reiterate what the commission said before as well, this is a text amendment and it affects all the agricultural zones or agricultural properties, not just this 5-acre property. So the specifics of your of the application are what regulation that's being proposed should address that the commission can control in the special permit process. And I think that's important to note. I do have several comments on the specific wording and the layout of integrating this regulation into text. Because and I'll address those when you want me to. Want me to address those?
Okay.
Well, could I suggest that a continuation of this and we have a rewording of the text or in a compliance where the commission is satisfied together with the professional staff?
Okay. We have
I think the feedback from the commission is really important with that. And I don't know that we have that to guide at this point in a concise manner.
Okay.
But I'd like to point out I'd still like to point out for you guys the things that we've flagged.
All right.
I'm going to just read my little speech. And I already said part of this, but we generally support and encourage the supplemental use to retain and keep our farms viable and active. We have some specific formatting and some language concerns. Staff concern the term accessory may be inaccurate. It's proposed as a special permit use in support of the viability of farms. And therefore, staff recommends the definition and related text be modified to read agricultural support services as opposed to accessory, because accessory is definitionally different to the farm use. And this is supplemental. It's whether it's support services, whether it's supplemental services, whether it's, whatever term the commission and the applicant thinks is appropriate, accessory does not seem appropriate. The definition calls for the proposed language is all within the definition of agriculture. But the last sentence in the paragraph defining agriculture says the agricultural support services are allowed only by special permit in zones where agricultural is allowed as a principal use. I think that because of that, requiring the special permit, section 11C5 which is special permit uses under agriculture, needs to have a new subsection added that is agricultural support services, or whatever term you use in the definition. And it needs to be on that, under that section of special permit uses. And along with the bulleted list that goes with that, rather than in the definition, should be moved to the special permit criteria and be under special permit. So that's more of a housekeeping, but it's a difference in how the regulation is proposed.
My comment is, I strongly suggest that in cooperation with the commission and the land planner, that you come up with the wording, and I assure you we'll take a look at it and will be totally acceptable.
Okay.
My next comment, the commission may want to consider if it's appropriate to add dimensional criteria for the outside storage of materials and equipment related to vehicles and equipment related to the supplemental use. In the industrial zones where you allow outside storage, et cetera, and we're talking large trucks that may be diesel, may be loud, et cetera.
Can I just make a comment about that?
Can I finish my explanation and then?
Okay, I'm
because I
sorry.
may
We'll get to you.
question.
I'm sorry.
May
I'm sorry.
answer that.
No problem.
And while you have a provision in the industrial zones, particularly noting where those items may be stored adjacent to non-industrial uses, most of our agricultural land is not in an area where adjacent homeowners might expect large vehicles. So you may want to consider whether whether you want to put in some parameters with regard to where on the site those are, whether they would require setback or screening within that special permit use screening. And I included vehicles, which was not specified. It said equipment shall be adequately screened. What's registered a vehicle and equipment that's otherwise, but I would imagine your bucket trucks, et cetera, are registered motor vehicles, right?
So
Because you have to move them from.
pertaining to
place
my
place.
situation, I don't own a bucket truck.
He said a scissor.
It's a spider lift. So it's a machine that I haul around on a trailer.
Hauled on a trailer, but even the truck with the trailer is, may or may not be more than your typical resident. When looking at the layout plan, that again is not, a site plan with dimensions, et cetera, but the farm parking is immediately appears to be, I don't have the aerial up, but to a residence next door at 2093 Chamberlain Highway, perhaps requiring that equipment parking be behind the front setback, behind, in the rear yard, or have a set aside distance, something. Because if that's where the large trucks are going to be, that could impact immediate residential.
Uh,
Or in this instance, it's illustrated for you in the plot plan, in the schematic we have. But on some other farm, it may or may not be as clear, and it may just be something to regard as one of the special permit criteria. I'm suggesting and throwing these out as suggested words I had for this evening. But again, with the work further on the language, we can certainly tweak it and get feedback from the commission. But vehicles, equipments, and material storage related to supplemental use shall be adequately screened from public view to the satisfaction of the commission and not allowed in the front setback unless modified by the commission.
That's already set forth in the proposal under the special permit.
But it's equipment and it didn't include the vehicles and materials. So I'm
It's
just,
all equipment.
I was adding that. So,
Sir, please do not interrupt our planner until she gets finished. Thank you.
and well, that sums up my concerns. It's really the
Okay.
definition, the exactly how it's placed in the regulation, and then the screening.
Okay.
Again, farms have a very agriculture, within our agricultural regs, it's pretty liberal
Mhm.
as to where vehicles, equipment, farm use, all that is on a farm. And we don't want to contradict that or create a problematic interpretation on the, that'll be difficult to manage with regard to it. But the supplemental use may have some sort of
Well, I think the other thing,
period. In the special permit.
the other thing I think with the special permit is if we go down this path, is we may want to look at hours of operation or operating that equipment. Because I do know, you said that you're going to be bringing wood on site. I mean, I'm hoping that we can devise something where wood splitting, because that's a very noisy job, would be considerate of the time and the days off and the neighbors. So in other words, like 11 o'clock at night, you shouldn't be out there wood splitting. I don't care how many lights you have.
Problem adhering to hours of operation.
Yeah, so hours of operation with that type of equipment, okay? So,
I had one more thing. I'm sorry.
yes, go, no, that's it. That was my thought.
In regards to the it's not a site plan, but the schematic.
Yeah, the drawing,
Um,
yeah.
That's very rough.
Mhm.
Where it says the farm parking, that is unspecified, obviously. That's where it exists currently.
Yeah,
And that's not for any machines farm related at all. That's for if somebody wants to come and buy a tree or cut a Christmas tree. That's where people who visit the farm park.
yeah,
Anything related to the accessory or supplemental activity is located in the north, I believe that's the northwest corner,
yeah,
where it says firewood mulch material storage. And that also is where the firewood is currently on the property. And it's specifically it's the low spot on the property. So all of this is virtually hidden from, if you drove by the farm today, I don't think you'd know there's firewood on the parcel.
yeah.
So it was deliberately, I mean, I understand if I have to adhere to setbacks, that's not a problem. The idea is for the accessory or supplemental farm activity to virtually be unknown. For
You're going,
I have to finish this up. I have a public hearing.
Okay. All right, thank you. I think Chris Edge wanted to address the commission, and I'm going to go to Attorney Levy to see if there's any closing remarks.
Just very quickly, one of the things that Commissioner Dorsey had said about mosquito spraying and I believe it was pesticides. I think that from what I've seen so far, it sounds like that contractor use would be pretty much signed off as an absolute no. That would be the only thing I was thinking about that. The other thing is both, I should say, down the road 4 sites as well as here. And then the reason why I really like what Chad's looking to do is he is a licensed arborist. He's not a guy with a chainsaw. He's looking to create what Pierre Benrup had done for many years. He wants to make it more types of trees, more types of opportunities, perennials, annuals, so that people can come in and actually buy them. So it really looks like an actual agricultural use instead of just a Christmas tree.
Okay.
Just put that out there because I know that
No, I'm,
something that there's a lot to think about, but this is a good guy that wants to make that property really something that we're going to be proud of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
May I interject?
Yeah.
I am not licensed to do anything with pesticides. That is not part of my business at all. I did go to school for it. My intentions when I went to school was to come home and get into integrated pest management. So I went to University of Massachusetts and I studied this heavily. What I learned is that I don't want to be involved in it. I don't want to be any of it. So
Smart man.
so I do not take part in any pesticide applications. I have other companies take care of that.
Oh.
So there will be no harboring of pesticides or any chemicals for that matter. At all
Will
on this
you,
property.
will you clarify for the record, please, because I've looked. You do not hold an arborist license.
I do not have a Connecticut CTPA license, no.
No. Which has been represented.
So your licensure is where?
I'm sorry?
Where is your license held? Which state?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
He does not
Have
have a
one.
license.
Oh.
Said he was a licensed arborist. I have a couple of, maybe a comment and a question.
Yes, go right ahead. and-
Just food for thought. So in the proposed language, I like what Maureen is suggesting as far as changing the word accessory to support. And the last line of the first paragraph, permit in zones where agriculture is allowed as principal use. I think it should be permit in zones where agriculture is principal use. And then my other comment is, in the next line, regarding screening, the word adequately seems kind of subjective. So I don't know if we want to remove adequately or
Just strike it.
or not.
You're getting,
I kind of, when I suggested the vehicles and equipment adequately, the way that I read earlier, I did go back to what we use in some other
Hmm.
zones and how it's modified, but we can look more closely at that.
And then
Underneath.
as to the 25% of the parcel area, if there's a special permit allowed, I don't know that maybe it should be subject to the discretion of the commission based on the size of the property or the overall use of the property. The question that I have is, how do you make the distinction between the primary use and the support use? Because there's another property that recently constructed a building to be processing firewood that has a mountain of firewood and is close by to residential properties and operating at very late hours. I would argue by the volume of firewood that is perhaps the primary use. So if it's a support activity, how is the distinction between primary and support going to be made? And what happens, like when we talked about the residential, what happens if the primary use goes away?
I think that from my perspective, I think that is a major quandary for the commission to grapple with, and was one of the reasons that for the way in the POCD we worded you know, looking into or studying, you know, whatever,
Well, that,
how support services can help
Sure.
keep farms viable. So, and we'll look to use wording similar to that, in any modification to this wording as well, just to keep that consistent too. I just realized that. But, I think that is a struggle that we have in enforcing the regulations when there are things such as that. And, you know, you're not gonna, like you said, tear down the house because maybe the farm is failing.
well,
You don't have customers.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, you can make it very simple. You could
Okay,
just say, the incidental will only operate so long as the primary is there.
All right. Is there any other comment, Attorney Levy, before we?
I just want to say
move
that Mr. Moran is really dedicated to this. He wants to be a good neighbor and a good citizen, and he wants to promote the agricultural part of this business and enhance it and continue it for a long period of time. So that's why he's being very accommodating as to whatever wording you come up with, basically, I think is going to be satisfactory to Mr. Moran. It's really in your hands as to what really works for you.
Okay.
So
All right,
Just
Mr.
wanna say
Zigmont, and
one
then
thing.
Vaughn.
the difficulty of this zone is that we have 5-acre piece of property and we have hundreds of acres piece of property. And it has to be a little bit broad when you're thinking, okay, when you say 25%, that makes a difference on acreage, okay? And I want to state that there's no get anything against the applicant or the applicant's lawyer or anyone else that it's just the zone itself and how the wording is. There was a great suggestions by Diane here of just is or not whatever is that it gets broad enough that we can address it at any time basically, and it goes for small piece or large piece, you know. And when you have a zone like this, it's very difficult. I can see wording in there that I question, you know, and I'm sure it's very hard for the planner or the zoning enforcement officer to interpret them. And that's where we come into the problem. You know?
Okay, well, it's nothing that we're gonna settle tonight, so.
No, not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all.
I
Just
think that I think that it's been suggested that we go ahead and continue this as we're gonna need to work on the verbiage, so am I
I will
hearing-
make that motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Jorsey to continue,
second.
second by Mr. Zigma. Further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, so moved. Okay. And that will be continued until, do you figure the February 5th? Okay, February 5th. Okay,
If
you.
there's a problem with securing the text, then you can just continue it at that time, but we'll make our goal to
yes,
text and be reposted.
okay.
You know, I think the changes that have been
Thank you
discussed
very,
fall within the ability of modifying a proposal
Yeah,
so far. So I don't think the text itself has to be renoticed as a public hearing, but I would like to be able to repost it on our website so that anyone who wants to look at it can.
okay,
what happened?
It'll
That's
give us
great.
Sufficient time.
all righty. Okay, so now we're gonna move on. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the 5th. All right, deliberations. We have the text amendment application to Newport Realty Group LLC to amend the Berlin zoning regulations 5C planned residential district to allow for minimum acreage for PR1 development on 8 acres when the lot is contiguous to a previously developed lot in the PR1 zone and the combined acreage of both exceeds 20 acres. All right, thank you for your patience, guys. I know those seats are not the most comfortable things. All right, but we have arrived, and it's not too long for you. All righty. So we're in our deliberations and commission. Oh, let me see, housekeeping. Mr. Rogan is back, so Mr. Biella has stepped down, and we're continuing. All righty. All right, deliberations, thoughts. Questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the text amendment application of Newport Realty Group to amend the Berlin zoning regulations.
Okay. All righty. So we have the motion by Ms. Dorsey, the second by Ms. Daly. Do we have further discussion on this item? Then all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, so moved. There you go. You had to wait for that, right? I know, too bad we couldn't. All right. All right, well, good. All right. Item B, not too entertaining. Item B, modification to the special permit with the site plan amendment application. HRP Hospitalities LLC for a Phase 5 hotel construction on the Berlin Turnpike. This was postponed. Okay, thank you. Item C, special permit with site plan application of Dianzi and Dimitri Mack Lobster King LLC for a to-go style fast food restaurant at 1176 Farmington Avenue, property of the Kids LLC in the CC D2 zone. Questions on this, Commission?
Make a motion to approve.
No, I guess there's no questions. All right, Mr. Zigma has the motion
I'll second.
to approve, and Ms. Dorsey has the second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Yes, subject to
Staff
staff comments.
Staff comments.
Do we have the,
It was really just,
Yes.
yeah,
district
amendment? Okay.
approvals and any other.
All right, so the motion amended, the second amended, so all those in favor? Aye. Those
Aye.
opposed, so moved. Item D was the text amendment for Arbor Farms, but this has also been continued. Okay, on to the executive session, or before we go into executive session, do you have any planner comments? We're gonna take this out of sequence so that when we exit executive session, we can just all go home and not have to hang out anymore.
Yes. And so she does expect you to go back into a regular session, but you can certainly handle the planner comments first too.
Okay, well,
It's your discretion.
yeah, go ahead and clean that up so that if we do have to come back out for a vote or whatever, yeah, then we'll do the housekeeping then. So do you have any?
I would like to, for the first comment, ask Alexa to talk about use she was inquiring about a interpretation of. So
Okay,
we've been working with an applicant.
So the art at Steel Boulevard, 10 Steel Boulevard, I believe it's called Connecticut Art Studio.
okay,
So they do art classes. The owner also wants to do cookie baking classes, and she wants to do custom cookie orders. So there'll be no retail. You can't go there and buy cookies, but she'll take orders online and then either deliver or have people pick up their orders. So there's not necessarily a bakery use in that zone. The closest use I could find is caterer or wholesale baker. So I just wanted your guys' opinion if you think it would fall into that use or how to go about approving it.
so she runs an art studio. Is she selling paintings or is she painting paintings?
These classes.
She teaches classes with oils and acrylics and
Wine.
turpentines and everything else?
I don't know exactly. You know more about the business?
No, do you know anything about the business? Because I'm thinking art, I'm
We
thinking
had a-
costs and pallets and
We
everything.
had a meeting there, right?
A few changes health would be fine with.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, cooking and oils and turpentines and
I'm sure
paint
health has
thinners.
regulations.
Oh, geez, I don't know. All right,
It would be in another space because they teach classes at tables and probably the baking wouldn't be at these same tables. There's no. But it has to be approved by health. So if it's approved.
Yeah. I'm sure they have better say than.
Yes.
Mm,
That's an odd mix.
Creating or using a
That is-
commercial kitchen space. So you give her that ability to have the equipment that she needs for baking.
We
yeah,
had,
so she's gonna have to put kitchen
we
space.
had this situation.
Is
at
this retail?
church
Restaurant?
basement kitchens before that they were cooking cookies and stuff like that. I remember that coming to the planning commission before of someone doing that.
So that was changing the use of the category of use of the property.
Yeah.
Because it's most of our churches, have tax exemptions. So running a business from tax exempt property changes the nature of the property. And they're usually in residential zones. So, where this is a commercial zone, it's just not clear how, as I get it, as I understand from Alexa, it's not clear how we categorize or sign off on it being allowed and out and are coming to you for an interpretation as to whether that falls within the umbrella of commercial retail. Some of you that have been around many years know that the regulations used to kind of have this category called commercial uses. And now we're very specific. We have retail, we have wholesale caterer, we have bakery, we have the
And wholesale bakery is,
dance studios. You know, we have all these, we've really subcategorized commercial into a lot of ways, and this is not a hybrid use that's addressed. You know, we do find that many of our commercial businesses, retail businesses are engaging in other activities like classes to keep their retail business viable. You know, and they're doing.
I guess I've just,
selling
art
retail
to
food
making
and
cookies. It's
stuff
like,
for this grocery store. You know, there's things happening. And this is one of those instances of a new hybrid use of
Wow.
commercial space.
but you were saying that, Alexa, that wholesale bakery is a permitted use? That's the answer.
But it's the inspection from the health
That's retail.
department and like the restaurant inspectors, they're cooking. I think they have to have some say.
They do. They have sent us emails. They have been.
so
We got
is the
the-
primary use an art studio or a cookie
Result
place?
To
Okay,
They-
so they have,
Class order. The cookie class is like a new trend that businesses are doing, so it is pretty popular, as well as the custom cookie orders. I guess I
Alright.
just want your guys' opinion, like John said, if it falls into the wholesale bakery.
I mean,
Well,
what is the understood definition of wholesale bakery? I mean, would it be like a cookie manufacturer selling?
Don't define it.
So then that gets back to my point is this is a wholesale bakery.
This is not being sold out at the storefront.
It is a special
That's-
permit use though, so she would have to.
wholesale bakery, she'd have to come for a special permit. It's not really wholesaling because she is selling to,
Individual.
to
That's, you're right.
Could it
people,
be
not wholesale.
caterers?
I don't know.
in there.
it's just like a home,
Could it
It's not
be,
caterer. It's less, it's
Website.
It's catering.
home baker or whatever.
like, I think a catering, like,
Couldn't she be like cooking the cookies at home and just bring them in?
It would be a cottage food,
Yeah,
Mhm.
but because it's a commercial space, the health district categorizes it as something.
Jesus.
could
It
it
is a
be,
cottage,
could it
'cause
be classes, classroom? She's teaching painting, she wants to teach cooking.
It's all part of her of teaching, but at the same time, she is selling.
Is she gonna get into like wedding cakes and
she's
stuff?
also Pairing, or selling baked. goods.
Well, once you open that door, I mean, she's gonna, it doesn't.
So it's more of a cottage use.
that area.
It is more of a cottage use in a commercial building.
I don't know.
So if it's cottage use and then they're gonna use it out of one room
I
in
mean, I
the
guess it's her money to spend,
You
but
can't do it in the
It's
commercial building.
Residential.
only residential.
So that's why it doesn't,
See that?
as under their definition of a cottage bakery.
So it can't be just a separate room or something.
just,
Commercial, but I assume
I would just go to Stop and Shop or just make my own,
how to.
I think Starbucks makes sense.
I know, I just can't make that leap.
Well, we're all about text amendments tonight, so. maybe
All right,
it's-
well, I don't,
What about unintended consequences?
I don't know, for the cookie place?
That, the things that I've overheard you mention seem to fall under the purview of the health.
Is this like right across, like Steel Boulevard, that entrance right across from the
Top House.
automotive?
Top house.
It's like right on the corner.
She's right there.
We had a meeting there. We had a meeting in there.
No.
Oh.
There, she across the park.
Across Steel Boulevard.
The drive.
Yeah. Across from,
Steel Boulevard.
Across from Hop Horse House.
Art studio.
Across from,
Gonna drink wine when they're cooking cookies?
Are they
baking
drinking
cookies?
wine when they're painting? Oh, come on, I'm getting to, do
Well,
we have a
well,
liquor license?
We had a Berlin Town Hall celebration there where food was brought in and we took a class and we ate foods at the same time. But it was catered in. They didn't make the foods. They do have like a separate little kitchen area that's around the corner from the classroom area. I'm sure she sells maybe art supplies too with her art classes. I don't know that for a fact,
Yeah.
but if you're making cookie classes, you might sell cookies too. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway,
I mean,
all
is this
right.
a material part of their business, or is this like a de minimis type?
Do we have to decide on this? I know, there's yelling. There is yelling.
a fight going somewhere.
Like behind the police.
No, I think it's,
Outside.
yeah.
Downstairs. Their meeting going.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but that's two stories down.
Oh, maybe they're having.
Probably,
Well,
probably,
how can we help them? I mean, if they need the additional business or income, how can we help them?
Yeah.
No, otherwise not far as how many people they're gonna be.
No, really? Oh, I'm going. Telling me I love ice.
So it's this side.
I'll take more ice, please.
I bet that's what
Problem is we know now.
What's going on?
That's the
It
problem.
is.
Sales of the
Of
foods or the bakery.
That's what we should be focused on.
So many babies cooking cookies. and
All right. Well, anyway, come on, we digress. We need to do something. So do you need our blessing with this? Jesus. Tell her to settle her mind on a business.
I don't know, to me, it
Uh,
seems like what
hodgepodge.
tipped it over the edge is the sales of the cookies.
Yeah.
If she was doing just the classes
And providing cookies to people.
and they took the cookies home as part of the class, like they take the paint home.
I would love for her to come in and say, I want to have a setup where I'm going to be teaching classes on how to make cookies, how to make bread, how to make this. That's it. But, you know, she's commingling this art studio in there and I can't make the leap. I can't, it's like, what's the accessory? But there is no accessory. What's your primary use? Is it the art studio or is just this custom cookie order thing? Which I think is going to be a fad thing because, you know, it's not cheap to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, you do. You have.
That teach cookie making and cake decorating and like I know I actually have a member of planning and zoning in East Haven that teaches at Gate.
What the hell is going on down there?
Decorating chocolate modeling, chocolate or molding or modeling or something as well. So I don't know. I think we can come up with it is, right? That's kind of where I was going with that was
Like the decorating.
the
an art.
well it is though. I mean, you should see the cakes that these kids, you know, that these students make. You should see some of the decorating. It is like what you see on television. I mean, it's
I know. But again, the class is allowed in this. Yeah. Like it is with the.
Yeah.
So the class.
but it's the selling.
Really, the question.
But this
Question
but
is for the selling of.
Yeah,
baked
but
goods that are-
but that's kind of I thought that when they broadened all of the cottage industry stuff, right, to give folks during COVID and coming out of COVID, because I think even coming out of COVID that they broadened it more. I thought that they allowed you know, folks who were selling things out of their house to be able to use commercial kitchen space.
So too.
I'm almost certain of that. Maybe we need to look a little bit more closely at that. Maybe he's not understanding the breadth of the.
I understood cottage industry baking had to be in your residence because I kind of wanted to do it when we were selling Christmas trees where in the building we sell trees in, but it's not my residence. So I wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah. I still may.
What's the flavor? We can move on. As far as the safety goes, if I can just add, I am, our health district and the current employees ask a lot of questions and thoroughly review plans. I think as far as any safety matters go with regard to, the mingling of materials, et cetera, they are on it. More so than some other health districts may be. And that's just my professional opinion on how the health district addresses these things. Jeff is in regular communication with our office, our sanitarian, as well as his bosses with regard, and they come to our staff meetings on new proposals so that we're all aware. Hey, did you hear there's a new barber shop? Did you hear I got an inquiry about this, and loop zoning, building, and all the water control in with regard to their purview, their reviews. So as far as safety goes with food, I think that is taken care of under their purview and their interpretation of how they have to classify the use. You know, he goes up the food chain at the health district as well. When a question like that comes up. But it's a matter of this incidence is more, where is it in the regulation, in the zoning regulations, or is it already addressed, or does it need to be a new use, or is it can be categorized under a use we have?
I think we're struggling with this because it just,
The bakery.
it's not a bakery, it's an art studio.
If it was a.
We're sympathetic to her needs, but
We would sign off on it, if it was a retail bakery.
Yeah.
We would be signing off on it as a typical retail use and wouldn't be
Exactly.
paying attention to how else the use was used.
that's right.
Would be, okay, so you're also selling pottery, you know, and we wouldn't really, that would be a zoning certificate.
So in my view, it's not permitted.
So what's the consensus of the commission? We let her just roll with it?
Yeah, can we allow it as retail, like additional retail use to her art studio? I mean, it is,
Well, the art studio is just someplace people go, that's not technically a retail.
but is her doing the cookie orders, could that be retail?
I would think it is, because, you know, she's taking an order, she's making a product, she's
Mhm.
selling.
Yeah, retail would just be site plan.
And it wouldn't, but not to them, it would be a zoning certificate, right? A special permit.
Yeah, it's just under site plan use.
Right, so it's an allowed site plan use. The retail would be signed off as a zoning certificate, which is fine. I mean, we can do it that way.
Yeah.
We're looking for guidance as to whether we can do it that way. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Roll. What do you think?
It's like, yeah,
We don't need a vote? Okay.
no, you're directing staff as to how to process this application.
All right, what other planner comments? Have any?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. So my second thing is, and I know we want to move really quickly, but I just wanted to make an announcement that we're really excited. If the state accepts the supplemental affordable housing units that we've sent off to them or will be sending off to them, we, and accepts them, they've received COs since prior to December 31st. That's past their deadline, but we will have achieved the 10% threshold. And that will protect us from 830G applications. We're working with the Department of Housing now on getting them the appropriate information. And then they have to approve that, yes, these will count, or tell us there's an issue with any of them. So if they are all counted, we'll hit that 10% threshold. I just want to say that this is a result of hard work by this board, by this commission, to encourage all the applicants we've seen that haven't come in with affordable housing, as well as their, the ones that have revisions in their, in their standard applications, that has chewed away at that number and gotten us to meet this threshold, which is really exciting. And it's something that accolades should be out there to you guys for. But we do want to remember that it is a constantly moving target with every new property. Probably once it happens, I think so, but we have to have, we want it in writing from the state first. And just, I think that if you continue on this track where, someone comes in with housing and we ask them, don't make us fall behind, because you've come up with a mixed use development or a residential development. And yeah, and we end up with the attrition, although you have had, as we were compiling it, they are a couple in perpetuity and others at 50 years. So again, well on your way. And you also have the ones that have been approved and not built yet. We have Pat Snow's other project. We have the 550 project. We have, a couple, and the rest of the Adios buildings is as two. That really is what got us. He got COs for 2 of his buildings. That's 16 units, 8 units in each building. So that was a nice lot.
Also, thanks to the staff and the office and our attorney, a lot of work all around.
And and this comes from the town manager as well. The newsletter was also included that has a couple of interesting things in it. And Ashley will be reaching out with regard to this. What? Oh, why don't you get that late? I barely read it. And then our town attorney has a 11th hour update from today that she'd like to give you.
So no, it doesn't have to do with executive session. So you'll recall the Luchek matter, administrative appeal brought against the commission regarding the 3-lot subdivision. Yeah. So yes. So the trial court had entered a decision in favor of the commission and the property owner. There was an attempt to appeal by filing the direct appeal form, which is not proper under state statute or under our rules of practice. To appeal a decision of the commission, you have to file a petition for certification, which has specific requirements under our rules of practice. That was not done. They filed a 1-page appeal form that's used in other civil matters. And as a result, a motion to dismiss was filed. There was an attempt when the motion to dismiss was filed to immediately file a motion for permission to file the petition for certification. And the court has granted the motion to dismiss and denied the motion for permission to file the late petition for certification. So, so hopefully, that is the end of the matter and that concludes the matter and they can proceed, with their subdivision. Okay.
Yeah. So we got 2 wins tonight.
So I
think that's
just,
really
I,
exciting.
I just want to say, I've told you before, I am so proud to represent this commission because I wholeheartedly agree that you have put in the work on the affordable housing issue. And it's been years of work. You have a number of regulations. I think you've been served well by the 20% requirement. And ultimately, you're aware that there is a new housing bill that was passed, a new law on the books. And I'm not sure where your cog is. I have made inquiries as to where your cog is as far as developing a housing growth plan. And I'm sure you're going to hear more about that. Next Thursday, I am going to a seminar that's being sponsored by the Planning Association, or the Connecticut, I should say, the Connecticut chapter of the American Planning Association. And we're going to hear hopefully more about how things are going to actually roll out, because there is some ambiguity in the law. So, as I get good information, all I've had at this point in terms of documents on it, all I've seen really are summary documents that, you can come up with that by reading the Public Act yourself. So as I get information that really more specifically details some of the elements of it, I will share that with you. So keep an eye out for that. But as it stands right now, I have been asked this as to, if a circumstance arises where you are, as a municipality, assigned a percentage that is higher than the 10% threshold that's contained in the 830G, what will happen in that instance? Can it be a circumstance where somebody could stand up and say, that you don't actually have enough affordable housing in town and the court's going to use it against you if there's an appeal, if you deny or condition approval? Um, you know, we don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, that's going to have to play out. But as it stands right now, the law has not been changed. So 830G itself, the language with regard to the threshold has not been changed. Obviously, close watch is being kept on that, so that we could advise agencies accordingly. So I know that that's a concern for many volunteers, because I've been posed that question by a few different folks. So if you're thinking about that, know that when I know, you'll know. Okay.
We've always had our affordable housing regs and our regs, and they've been great because it shows that we're going to go hit it. Okay, isn't that a good case that someone comes in and says, "Oh, now you need 20%"? Well, we have the regulations in place that work, and and here's how we do it. I think we got a case because it shows it worked. And I don't know. But
The other thing too is I don't think they could just, well, here I'm talking about the state, right? I don't think that they can just turn around and say, Berlin, you need to have 20%, while Meriden only needs to have 5%. I don't think that they would have to change the goal for everyone. And there's so many towns out there that aren't even addressing it. And, I've said this before, is go chase after them, get off our backs. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's the way I feel. We've done our job, so.
Again, time is going to tell on you know, the way this all comes about, because the way the law is written is that if you don't agree as a municipality with the regional,
Oh, that
plan,
regional planning
then you
thing.
can do your own. So there is that piece of it. But, you know, again, I think it's difficult to make assumptions.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at some of the content in the law, and Tim Hollister has spoken up.
Oh, boy.
Himself, you know, concerned about ambiguities and how things are going to, terminology is going to be interpreted, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
again, you know, this seems to be sort of a moving thing at this point, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
A lot of questions
Well, thank you. Thank you for the update.
and some very specific problems with it that I
So
see them try to address.
We under commission.
we are going to have to go into executive session.
So I would actually like to just invite
I got a
Attorney Sullivan for
Let's get rid of this.
So the architect is on as well. I
Okay.
think what makes sense, because you've heard quite a bit about this, we've met many times in executive session. I think we need to talk about at this point, you know, what are the modifications that are being sought? What were the changes that were made to the plans? We're gonna take a look at.
That's Steve Biella.
Biella.
You just have, you just have to use them.
And talk about what the changes are that have been made to the plan that have been required by OSTA. Okay, because there are some things that have been done that were required by OSTA. And
By who?
by the DOT, by traffic authority.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So
Booster.
we need to cover that, I think. Then going into it in executive session, you do have the executive session on your agenda. You
Yes.
may find that you think you don't need it at this point. So let's
So we're just gonna
underway.
So regular session.
I think we should. Yeah,
You wanna-
I make that
wanna vote or something?
recommendation to you. And then if you want to have a specific
Anyone else?
conversation about the modifications being proposed, we could always go into executive session.
Okay.
This,
Right, myself.
Yeah, so we don't necessarily need it at this point. Okay,
when-
all right.
then don't do what.
I'm confident that you understand the commission enough that you would go ahead and call for it if necessary.
That house has been high, right?
Please. Across from,
I know. So, don't you know that I thought about, he better not be getting rid of my my water fountains. My water walls are gonna stay.
Oh, yeah.
I know. We're at 10%. Fuck you.
Share screen.
Yeah, probably. Alexa will be back. He's not a panel. So until we have to scan on it.
Another one?
No, she has. She has.
Now, these, I believe, will be shared on the screen. I only have 4, so only go to Joan. And then we'll come from the other side. Oh, you're gonna share? Yeah. Okay. Do you want one, Diane, or will you two share?
We share. We're just sharing.
Okay, so then we'll,
Yeah.
you two, and that'll make it. Okay.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll pick you one of those. Okay, so you can get the share. The rest of it, you wanna clutter it up for you beforehand. Do you want these?
Pull this baby out. Pull it out.
No.
I'm gonna have this here just in case. Never asked.
We're close.
Let me try to promote him to panelist.
Get through Oysters for September. Yeah.
It's not on quite yet. That might work better.
Okay. Jeff, you were just promoted to
Over
panelist,
there.
so you
Can't
should
off the corner.
be able to share your screen. We're not quite there yet, but we'll be there in a minute.
Thank you.
Good, let me just do a quick overview.
We'll get to that. Hopefully that'll be, it's on the list of enforcement, but it's on the list. To Polly. He's allowed to expand. You approved him to do some of the expansion. Yeah. And then I just got back, so I haven't seen anything.
I mean, he had to have building permits.
Yeah, he went through building.
Yeah.
So I did speak to your CEO about that and said that and check all of that, and it was pursuant to the prior approval. It is.
Yeah, and I remember looking at that one,
Limited.
because he scaled way back. He was making changes, then he wasn't, then he was, then he modified.
Hopefully at the finish line. I'm begging, no. I had a quick question. I watched the beginning of this at home when I came out, and there was no place for me to mute my audio. Is that automatic? Like,
If you, so now we don't do a Zoom meeting anymore. We do webinars. So unless you're a panelist,
I can't speak.
you can't speak.
Can you hear me?
No,
You can't, okay. Unless I made a panelist, you can't.
right,
hear
these
me,
are
I can't.
other
I can
people.
either make you a panelist or allow.
Okay.
Right, so you'd send in chat that you want to be allowed to speak, or you'd raise.
That's what I thought. I was just concerned because I was watching the my dog started barking. Thought maybe you guys could hear my.
Oh, we would have been, you would have been on speed dial on your cell phone. Christie would have been.
Yeah,
So,
I certainly can't.
no, it's because we changed the format so we can't get Zoom bombed. Because one of the commissions had that issue. And so we had to change to webinars. So only those allowed to speak can be heard.
We in executive session? We're not in executive session, right?
Not
No,
executive.
no.
So these are all confidential because we thought they'd be in executive session, but they're obviously we're in the regular meeting for this, so.
Yeah, there's nothing.
So.
Yeah, no, they aren't really, because ultimately I think he's going to be asking that you act upon them, so.
So, yeah, there's more for everybody to take one off to the side. So So those of you that are sharing now, if you're going to take the plans with you, grab each of the plans or have me hand them to you. Yeah, these, well, it was just handed out. There's enough for you to each have one, but usually on the DS, you like to share.
Okay. How are you? Good evening. A medical mess, but I'm hopefully moving in the right direction. Yes. Hopefully. Yeah. Yeah, well, I found out today I gotta get a root canal, so every time I go to a doctor, they give me something else, like, I just call it, I'm a voodoo doll, they like, they just poke me, we haven't messed with this elbow in a while, and that's really bad, but yeah, it really does. But
Give you some.
But thanks for your attention tonight. I appreciate the opportunity. Jeff, I want to make sure you're on board here. You can see and hear. He's got his thumbs up.
Yep.
so-
Yeah, I can hear you and
Okay.
see you.
Okay, and we
Thank
can
you.
hear you.
Great.
Thank you. As everybody recalls, I think this has been kicking around for a while, but I really think we've got a very, very good project to get built in a very short period of time. If we can get by this final hurdle. This was approved by the commission, put to a stipulated judgment in July of 2024. At that point, we had to go through OSTA, Office of State Traffic Control, and that took a long time. We finally got through it in September. They required us to make some changes. So I'm here tonight to reference those changes to you. We started going through this in October of this year, and there was some confusion, so we were going to regroup and come back in November. And then the owners of the project decided to go in a slightly different direction, not much of a different direction. So we continued it to incorporate what they would like to do to amend this project, and Jeff will talk more about that. But so this is the project that's in front of you tonight as a proposed modification to what you approved in the stipulation. And some of these changes are driven by OSTA. They required us to make some changes, and some of these changes are what the commission's expecting to see, because when you approved it a couple years ago or a year and a half ago, you said, well, with the signage and things like that. So all of that is now incorporated in here, some of the things you wanted for signage, and I'm going to go over that. And I believe you also have a modification and a summary in front of you. Modification of stipulation for judgment. Okay, that really gets to the actual modifications to the written stipulation. And we talked about this last time in October. And just to go over those changes very quickly, there were more changes in October. I've withdrawn quite a bit of them. I've cleaned them up so that there wouldn't be there was some confusion. So the first change, if we look at the modification of stipulation for judgment, it talks about paragraph 5B1B. And that's the distribution of affordable units. And we talked about this in October, that the original stipulation has the distribution of affordable units at 11 for 1 bedroom and 10 for 2 bedroom, just evenly split. And that's not the way the statute apportions that. They usually go by the percentage, to make it an equal percentage. So if there's 88 or 85 1 bedrooms, you take 20% of that. And if there's X amount of 2 bedrooms, you take the percentage of that. So that should actually be 17 and 4. That was just an error. I didn't pick it up in July of 2024. But we're asking that be modified to say that there's still going to be the same number of affordable units, but the breakdown is going to be pursuant to the percentage of 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom units, in this case, 17 and 4. The second change to the actual stipulation deals with paragraph 5B, 2B. And that's because the stipulation under 5B states that any changes are going to be in accordance with the zoning regulations and be considered by the commission. So that was in 5B2, I'm sorry, 5A2, which clearly states that that in accordance with the zoning regulations and other applicable laws. So I wanted to include that. I wanted to make that universal, like it is universal, but we wanted to to clarify that any changes are going to be in accordance with the zoning regulations and the commission. And that's what the two changes are. It's just really for clarification under on that modification of stipulation for judgment. 5B, 1B was the affordable units. 5B, 2B is in accordance with the zoning regulations. And then 5B, 2C is in accordance with the zoning regulations. So adding that simple phrase and tying it all together. And then paragraph 5B3, it was just an error, a Scrivener's error. It should have been 170 spaces, parking spaces, and that's what's on the engineered drawings. This had gone back so many different times, back and forth, that just didn't get updated. And so that takes care of, this document here, the stipulation for judgment. 4 relatively simple changes: the affordable housing, tying in the zoning regulations and the commission, and then the parking. And then I also wanted to go over, if you go to the next, I referenced the architectural drawings and the site plan drawings. If you go to the next document, which is the summary of revisions, of proposed revisions, and that we start off with the housing affordability plan. In addition to the 17 and 14, the format has changed, and that's Jen, Attorney Capola, has reformed it just to match, I think, the regulations, the state regulations. You accepted Brian Miller's original housing affordability plan, and she's tweaking that a little bit, and I can let her speak to those changes that she's making on that. The other change was the architectural plans, which we'll get to in a second. But I just want to go over some of these changes before we get to the architectural changes. So this is the proposed site plan modified that we're proposing tonight. Some of the changes from your stipulated judgment a year and a half ago was this building. OSTA generated this change. This building is smaller by about 400 square feet, and it's pushed to the north just a little bit because during the OSTA process, this drainage pipe was discovered. It was not in any of the land records. And so that drainage pipe forced us to make that building smaller and shift it to the north just a little bit. You also may recall, and I can show you here, from a year and a half ago, we also had an access lane with the bus stop up on the turnpike that I'm bringing to your attention right here in yellow. All right, that now is gone. OSTA did not allow it. And so the access route the access lane is gone where the bus stop was, and the bus stop is now right here, which will be accessed through the existing system here, but not on the turnpike right of way. They did some other things. I'm pointing out these two here. That's there was an existing ABC sign that's being relocated because OSTA did not want any signs within the right of way. So we have the residential, when I say residential, the residential component of this proposal. We have the residential sign here, and we have the ABC sign here, taking those outside of the, and you can see where they used to be. But so those are the changes that were really OSTA driven. We also have, and I have it here, proposed landscaping and proposed metal fencing right here. And that shows up better. Here's the proposed additional landscaping that the commission wanted, as well as the proposed metal fencing. We've got pictures of the improvements to the ABC property. I don't know if we can bring those up. I can show you the type of fencing. And the pictures, they're part of the record already. Rather than have staff have to go back over 3 or 4 years and look for these records, because this was a very large volume record. I sent them. You should have.
The modification for the stipulations is that.
Yes. I was just going to have Alexa, if you could bring it up, and you can see where the ABC improvements are. And in addition, so the ABC improvements everybody's like that. You know, we're cleaning up. If anybody's familiar with the front of it, there's painted windows now. Those windows are going to be cleaned up. And the second, you actually see the new fencing going in. It's also and the man cell roof is and you've approved that. I'm just bringing to your attention what, you know, as the negotiations went on in terms of trying to get this approved. The man cell roof gives it the pitched roof that the commission wants, that's required under the regulations. You wanted a new one. So we're transforming the existing building to meet the regulations. And those were previously approved. We just wanted to have them on plans. It's back now. All right, so, and you can see the actual type of metal fencing in this package. So those were the changes to the ABC property. And if we go to also on C1 of the package that's in front of you, it shows we added here the decorative entry pillar that you wanted to designate the residential. So there's an entry pillar for that. There's a proposed 3-way stop sign. So this was a public safety concern that as the access road comes down, here's the turnoff right here into the ABC property. There's the ABC parking lot. There'll be a stop sign here. There'll be a stop sign there, and there'll be a stop sign there. And you see it's proposed stop sign, 3-way. So the cars will come and the trucks will come to a complete stop here. Trucks will go in there, or their customers will go in there, and then the residents will come down here. There's a speed bump that everybody wanted. And if you go to C2, like I said, here's the landscaping and here's the fencing. And if you go to C2, there's another, here's the speed bump. There's another speed bump as you enter the parking area for the residential community. Then I just highlighted a few things. We have, this is all wetlands here. This is all wetlands. It's ideal for a residential development, nice and quiet. And these are all, this is a trail. There's a trail that goes completely around the development. It's got exercise stations. And I'm pointing these out because I know how important it was to the commission for quality of life and amenities. And I'm going to let Jeff, the architect, speak more about that we've added some amenities. That's on top of the other ones, okay? And I'll let Jeff speak to that. And the reason we did that, the reason we could have space to do that is because we're proposing to make the size of these two buildings smaller. Not much. And Jeff has an overlay to show you how the small amount that we're decreasing it. We're proposing to decrease the size of the 1-bedroom units to approximately 700 to 750 square feet, and the size of the 2-bedroom units to approximately 1,000 square feet. There's a little bit of difference depending on the unit, but it's 1,000 to 1,050. And that opened up space to provide for storage. Because a lot of times when you have apartment units, you have no place to put your skis, you have no place to put your bike, you have no place to do it. So Jeff will speak more to this, that we've added storage space as an amenity to the for the tenants. Without decreasing the size of the current amenities for the community space, as we're calling it. And you'll see the community space. This was also previously in the record. And I believe you should have that as well in your package. That's what we represented the community space to look like. 3 floors, depending on the size, the 3 or 4 story building. So we're not changing that at all. We're just adding to that space to try to make it the quality of living, try to comply with the aesthetics and the quality of living that the commission wants. At this time, and there's also, as you see, there's actually going to be a little bit more space in the patio area. You'll see that little space because as you shrink the width of the building, you actually add more space here. So Jeff, I don't know if you want to if you can take over and show the architectural plans and the changes that you've made.
Sure, I'm happy to. I'm assuming the way this is set up, I can just click on my screen and share it.
Should work.
Okay. Can everybody see the drawings on my screen?
I don't know if it would help. Extremely small and
Okay, well, I can zoom in.
yeah.
Okay, all right. So first, we took about approximately between 20 and 22% of the square footage gross square footage out of the buildings. That's all floors. So with the 3-story building and the 4-story building. And as Tim mentioned, that exercise really came about by the want to reduce the square foot sizes of the apartment units to something that I think makes more sense for the marketability of them. I'll walk you through building 1. I believe this is building 1. This is our 3-story building. We basically were able to keep the form of the buildings really almost negligibly different. Really hard to tell the difference. Sorry, I can't speak. I just got out of another public hearing. Really difficult to tell the difference between them. They're very similar. But one of the things that we were challenged with was making sure that we were keeping the community and amenity spaces to the same square foot numbers that we had at the beginning. We know that was part of the agreement that we came to get this approved. So things like the water features that we discussed, those stayed in the buildings. We were able to find spaces, as Tim mentioned, for storage lockers for people's golf clubs or skis or bicycles, that sort of thing. I think we're able to, just by tightening up the floor plan designs, I think we made some improvements overall to the massing of the building or the buildings. Same thing here in our 4-story building, again, keeping the water feature, trying to have small little informal pockets for places for people to meet. No change in the number of affordable units or ADA units from the last iteration that you saw. In the elevations, still working with the same materials. The notion of having different colored, I think part of the stipulation was that we might have 2 different colored buildings. That's all part of the plan. Still using the same glass facades that we had in the earlier iterations. And I mean, really nothing substantial has changed other than we basically took these buildings that were a little bit big and just kind of skinnied them up by, pushing and pulling things from the interiors all the way around. That I can talk to you just quickly about square footages. For amenity spaces, we did have and our amenity spaces do include the storage lockers, or storage closets, I guess we could call them. The net amenity spaces that we had between both buildings, we left the prior iteration of this with about 3,100 square feet. And let's see, that's for 3,100. And we're now just shy of 4,000. So we've got a net increase of just about 900 square feet of the amenity spaces. So I think that's actually allowed us to find a betterment to the organization of the plan as a whole. I don't think, Tim, was there anything else? I know you had some images of what the kind of precedent images of what we were hoping the amenity
Yeah,
spaces would look like. Did
Yeah,
you?
I'll go to that in a second, but, and just, I know you talked briefly about it, but, the facade of the buildings remain offset, so there's not just a continuous flat surface. You wanted it offset with broken up by color and glass, and that remains in place.
That's correct.
But maybe to just, give some, explanation as to one of the reasons why we've done this, is because the one-bedroom units were sorry.
Yeah, I think we had some one-bedroom units that were close to 1,000 square feet. And I think part of this may have seemed not necessarily odd because this was coming out of COVID. And we do a fair amount of apartment buildings and studies in our practice. And during that period of time, it seemed like we were incorporating home offices in everything. And
Getting away from that.
and yeah, and it's not happening anymore. And I think the planned layouts for the buildings are still these are still nice units. Where we located an affordable unit is, by ethical laws and standards, it cannot be any different in layout or materials than a regular market rate unit. And these are all, these 2 bedrooms are still 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths, a decent galley kitchen, dining area, living spaces. Every unit has a balcony, along with community spaces on each floor. Also, we talked about security, I think maybe over 2 years ago. So there's fob, key fob security, so that that all of the tenants have, I think private accesses to their units. We have designed the fire stairs. All of our egress has glazing on it, and we know that that's going to be something, that's an expense because of the sprinkler system that we have to use for that. But we felt that was important to keep these spaces well lit and also to try to break up the massing of the buildings. These were all components of the original design, and we made sure that we didn't eliminate any of that stuff as we moved through the changes.
Just to touch briefly on what Jeff.
If you don't mind, one minute. Yeah, we're looking at the colors on the buildings, and we've kind of played with some vibrant colors on some other buildings or approved some, and now that they're constructed, I don't really think they work, especially on the turnpike. If you look at more like Diadio's project and Orsini's project, where they went with like more neutral or earth tones on the buildings that really looked nice. So I don't know, personally for me, and maybe some of the other
Long time ago.
Actual stipulation provides for the town planner to approve those types.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Yeah, I see blue and red.
Yeah, I'll
My
say,
recollection is that that was what
Okay.
was the discussion at the time was a schematic similar to this was presented to you and resulted in a conversation about muting the colors. No, yeah. But I do almost wonder if just timing and it may not be feasible or possible right now, but if you have the similar elevation drawing of what was approved in the
Oh.
stipulation, so that can be compared to this, so they can see
sure.
what, I don't know if that's too difficult,
No, it's not difficult.
because we don't have all those records in front of us up in the meeting room.
Jeff, are you doing that now?
I'm going to, yes, just
I just wanted to.
don't shame me by my desktop, please.
And I just circle back and touch upon the one bedrooms with the home office. That by eliminating that, we believe we're also eliminating a potential zoning enforcement issue by people using these home offices as another bedroom, as I said. And that's a zoning enforcement issue all in the state. There'll be one bedroom, there will be no home office. Yeah. And that opened up some space for us, obviously. You're able to shrink it and apply it in other directions, into the amenities, as Jeff was saying.
But if somebody with the apartment, would somebody be able to set up their laptop and work from home in a one-bedroom apartment?
Oh, they could set it up in their kitchen and operate, or their bedroom, if they had a desk in their bedroom. But there's not going to be an office that could be easily converted to another bedroom.
All right, thank you.
And
Bear with me for one moment. I'm finding out that my battery is low on my laptop.
well, we have something to add in the meantime as we scrolled through our council
Sure.
scrolled through and found where architecturals are
Oh, good.
addressed in the stipulated judgment.
Okay, good.
So if you'll bear with us, one of us will read it, and I'm actually going to ask Jennifer if she will, because my voice doesn't seem to like that.
And Jeff, while they're doing that, can you share your screen? We also. Yeah, Jeff, while they're doing that, if you could share your screen to show the size differential between the buildings after they shrunk.
Yep, just give me one moment. I'm on,
We actually did an overlay of the buildings. Okay.
yep.
Got a low battery, so he wants to bring it back to.
So 5B1 C1 actually addresses architecturals, but the introductory language to subsection B1C says approval by the town planner subject to their reasonable discretion and of all architectural, landscaping, and streetscape material and design standards, lighting, signage, etc. shall be required. The commission has considered the following, and all plans submitted for permitting shall be reviewed by the town planner or her designee and subject to their approval. Architecturals, so this is again sub 1 to C. Attached here too as Exhibit C are architectural renderings of the residential buildings in the community center. Building materials shall be selected to convey a sense of quality, durability, and permanence, and shall be economically maintained and able to retain their appearance over time. As depicted in the attached renderings, the overall architecture will be modern New England in style with fenestration, pitched roofs, muted New England color palette, and outdoor spaces and balconies as presented. So that's what we have in the stipulation presently. I just wanted to make a note of something with regard to the modification of stipulation for judgment document that Tim had drafted. I think we discussed this previously. I have sort of a different format that I
used when we went back to the court. I think it was on little houses. So I'll put it in that format because that was, and Tim, I had mentioned this to you, because that is what the court had okayed as well. But just with regard to 2, again, in this 2-page modification document, there's actually some language missing. The document itself, I'll tell you what it says. And again, this is under B2, in B on page 6 of the stipulated judgment, the filed stipulation. It says any proposed use of the commercial property at 502 Berlin Turnpike shall be subject to the approval of the commission, shall complement and must not impair the residential use at 522 Berlin Turnpike or the commercial use at 550 to 554 Berlin Turnpike. So the phrase shall complement has been eliminated there. I think that was an error. I think that Attorney Sullivan only intended to just add the in accordance with the zoning regulations, so we will add that back in the final version. So, yeah. Okay, so just be aware of that, it's shall complement and must not impair the residential use at 522 or the commercial use at 554. Thank you. Well, I think we had a long discussion about this over many sessions. I am sort of questioning why is it being asked to be added if they're going to suggest that if they propose any use that's allowed in the zone, that it should automatically be allowed. I don't think that that was what your intention was, because when you deliberated on this, you very specifically were concerned at the fact that there wasn't a new commercial use being proposed. And because the intention of it is to have mixed use and to have a use that would complement the residential use that the residents would be able to utilize. You know, often, right? But you do clearly something else is intended other than just to comply with to have a use that complies with the regs, because you have this other language that says shall complement and must not impair. And that is the position that, should there be some question about your discretion, your counsel would be advocating on your behalf. Should it head down a negative path. But yeah, so I mean, I am concerned about why it's being added, if it's being added for that I'm being very open with you. I mean, if it's being added for that reason, to be able to, you know, if they have something in mind, and you know, I wish there would be an open discussion about it, because there was a lot of effort put into this. And I think that I know from recollection, I won't say I think, I know from recollection that there were folks on the commission that were hesitant to approve, and that this was a big portion of the stipulation that resulted in you coming around to an approval, to have that control over what's going into that additional pad, to make sure that it is something that the residents are going to regularly utilize and that benefits them and doesn't interfere with their quality of living. Yeah, absolutely. And that's up to you. I mean, he has a request to amend it.
Talking about under 5A2, it states that furthermore, the plan desires for a change of use in the future to plan of the grounds and agrees that such change will require additional permits and improvement. Yeah, in accordance with the zoning regulations.
Then, again, all I have in my packet is 2 pages and it's no longer spelled out. I'm sorry, what was that? You've gone over the past, I remember the past stipulated judgment.
We can.
Was more than these 2 pages. That was just a modification, yeah, you should.
Actually, I'm struggling with that myself because I did have a recommendation. This all came in while I was out on medical leave, so I didn't pull my notes from, there was one provision I had requested that has not been incorporated, and I can't find what that wording was. One of the things, it did have to do with the complementary use at the property at 502, for the reasons Jennifer just stated. I also recall, and again, it's as I'm flipping through this, I was able to pull up one of the iterations that we had worked on months ago, but was adding that somewhere in here, and maybe it has been added, that the agreement, also the zoning fell under the BTD zone, because that's really what the criteria for approval you were using. And I don't recall that being mentioned in the stipulation. And I think that needs to be looped in so that anyone in the future looking at uses looks to see the criteria of BTD, not just the BT1 zone.
That's just housekeeping, but I'm pretty sure we said we just want to keep the regular, the rest of the text as it was in the original stipulation. I think they changed. When you say, and what provision on that? All of that, other than the 17.4, I was comfortable with that. I think the rest of it, I don't want to speak for anybody. Yeah, there was this was like 5 pages or 7 pages before. Now I have 2 pages in front of me. Yeah, I tried to reduce it and clean it up as much as possible. So I liked the 2 changes. I think the parking changes to 170. Yeah, I know. But and then the affordable, and then the other 2 were just adding the accordance with the zoning regulations, which was in the previous removed general terms and conditions. I was taking that out of the general terms and conditions because it was a nexus there. And obviously, I'm just comfortable. I don't mean to beat you up, but I'm just starting to agree to. It was our attorney worked really hard on it, and I was comfortable with it. Yeah, I think it does what I want to do without adding the language, because it's. I mean, you can't act unless you're acting in accordance with the zoning regulations. Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that you're not. You know, you can't just act without any guidance or guardrails. And it may change too. I mean, 10 years from now, the DTZ zone might not even exist, but you'll apply the regulations that are in effect at that time.
What you do is you just gave us the paper for what was changed.
For the change, exactly.
So.
That's why we're not seeing all of it. That's why we're not seeing the whole document, is this is only giving you the cliff notes
I feel like that's a little
over the changes. Yeah, well, it is, but
I think what he's indicating to you again in that 2-page modification document that you're looking at, I think he's indicating that he's okay with only proceeding on the numbered paragraphs 1, and then on the next page 4, 5, and 6. So 5 is having to do with the parking spaces. The stipulation currently reads 172. And he's indicated that that was a Scrivener's error, that it's 170 spaces. And then 5 deals with the filing the updated affordability plan as Exhibit B. So I think what he would like to do is file the final and the updated plans that you're seeing tonight that Jeff has gone through and Tim has.
I mean, I understand. I mean,
So
the only thing I want to say is that I get the hesitance about the, why are we looking to amend pursuant to paragraphs 2 and 3. I mean, sometimes, you think of these things in retrospect, then Tim, I think that's just what your point is.
Yeah.
I mean, I get, I know you're not trying to pull anything.
this has happened to me in my own work. Oh my God, I wish I had put that language in. It's something you only think about, maybe a year later when something else comes up and you're like, okay, well, now that we're going to open this up, I'm totally comfortable with this whole thing. Just to let, everyone else know, but it's obviously up to the majority of us to figure this
It
out.
was actually a year later, John, that when Jen and I were going over the restrictions that we were going to put on the land records.
Yeah.
That I noticed that, it seemed like they was missing something.
I'm totally okay with everything, but I understand the hesitancy of the commission.
So, I mean, like I said, I think the zoning regulations control what you can and can't do. So, whether it says it or not, it says, it has to go to the commission has to apply the zoning regulations. I was just adding it because it was also in the general terms that any changes are going to be pursuant to the zoning regulations. So I just added that to the two other ones. And then, I know Jeff's got it up there now. You see the two sizes, the differential. The red would be the current stipulated building. And the inside of that, you see the shrinkage of the building.
Jeff, if you could maybe go to each building and zoom in on each building so that it's easier to see the change in footprint.
Sure. So as Tim was noting, the red was the original footprint. And then if you follow my cursor here, or the hatched in part is the current proposed footprint now. And the same thing here.
And just for the record, Bart Bove reviewed this with Jim Horrible. And the change in the size of the building are all outside of the upland review area. So there's no change required for our modified wetlands permit that we received in May or June of 2024. Before we came to you, we had to make sure the wetlands was in order.
I just need to back up for a second. Tim, when you went over the changes because of the OST or something,
Yes.
in regard to the bus,
In regard to the what?
where they removed the bus lane, but you said now the bus existing system, and I didn't know what you meant by bus existing system.
This is where the new bus stop is, right here. Outside of the right of way. All right, so now you would access it by coming through here and dropping people off, because as this thing comes in, you come in, you spin around, you can, that's where the bus would be. Whether you walk to there up the sidewalk, or if somebody comes and picks you up there or drops you off, it would be through this area here, and that would be all taken care of through cross easements, cross parking and access easements.
Would that be all buses, like school buses?
School buses, yes.
So
If the school, well, no, down here, well. I think the school bus would probably turn off and pick up and then go out. I don't think they're gonna make the kids, It would be nice if the school buses would come down here, but there's no guarantee of that. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of kids anyways, they're mostly one bedrooms. Yeah.
All right, okay. Is that it?
Yes, just as a couple of quick housekeeping matters, I'll speak quickly. With regard again to proposed paragraph 5 in the modification, I do want it to be, of course, of record that in paragraph 5B in the stipulated judgment, and this is on page 3 of the recorded stipulation, the motion for entry of stipulated judgment with the stipulated judgment attached, that it does indicate that in terms of the settlement plan that was attached to the filed stipulation that the court acted on, that the property was to be developed pursuant to that settlement plan attached as Exhibit A, subject to a complete submission and review and approval of a final site plan set by the town planner and other town officials and employees. and incorporation of and compliance with all commission and departmental official agency and authority comments and conditions. And then it goes on about what the content of that complete set. So I don't know that staff has actually, and all departments have reviewed these final drawings that have been submitted. So I don't actually think that paragraph 5 is necessary. If it does add a level of comfort, to include it in the modification that's filed with the court to indicate that it, we will have all those authorities review it and confirm that everything is in order. I don't think that that's a big deal to do that. But also, there's another provision further on with regard to the affordability plan that it is subject to town council's approval, so town attorney's approval, whatever it says. We're not intending to change anything with regard to those points. Okay.
Because the exhibits A, B, and C that are attached to the stipulation, they will actually change though. Exhibit A will now be new set of plans, exhibit B will be the new set of architectural, rather affordable housing affordability plan, and exhibit C will be the new set of architecturals as approved by council and staff.
Again, the stipulation contemplated that what was attached were drafts, and that final submissions would be approved by the appropriate officials and staff. So I don't really think that it is necessary to refile with the court or to file with the court these final drafts because the stipulation allows for the approvals to be given. Yep.
Represent that they are changing. I don't want to
Yep.
misrepresent the commission.
That's fine. Yeah, I think primarily what we want is the authority of the commission to simply file a modification that covers what's proposed in paragraphs 1 and 4 of the modification that you've drafted. And that's really all that's needed in terms of a motion, in my opinion, because you want staff to, and obviously, again, all officials and departments to review this plan set. That has not occurred. That has to occur. And Tim and I will, I think we're pretty on our way with the affordability plan, but we'll final that out. And then everything will be in order. He does have draft declarations as far as the restrictions are concerned that I did provide that need to go onto the land records with regard to each of the properties, and the language that I used mirrors the language that is in the stipulation. So I won't be needing to change any of that if you're not going to vote in favor of again, paragraphs 2 and 3 of the proposed modification. Thank you.
So there we have it, group. So you need a vote from us. You want, basically, whatever Jennifer said.
I think, again, I think the motion can be very simple. It can authorize us to file, I'm just trying, I may have some language. Let me.
You need to write it out. Do you need it to be stated in a legal terminology, or can it?
Just give me a sec because I did pull. I did last time we were together, I actually did have a draft motion. So I just need to add the parking space change. So I will do that.
Mr. Jenke, I think you can stop screen sharing if you'd like.
Happy to. Thank you.
Oh, no, she's trying to increase it. I don't want to touch your screen, though. I don't,
Is that the whole?
technology. No, it's fine. I can read it.
Is that the whole motion?
Yep. I make a motion to amend or modify paragraphs 5B, 1B, and 5B, 3 of the stipulation for judgment approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission as April 3rd, 2024 special meeting and entered as the judgment in the matter of the 554 Berlin Turnpike Associates LLC versus Planning and Zoning Commission of Town of Berlin and Town of Berlin docket number LND HHD-CV 23-6170450-S by the Superior Court as follows. 1. The sentence at section 5B 1B, which reads, in terms of the distribution of the affordable housing units among the available unit types, 11 of the one-bedroom and 10 of the two-bedroom units shall be deed restricted as affordable for 50 years, shall be amended to, in terms of the distribution of affordable housing units among the available unit types, 17 of the one-bedroom and 4 of the two-bedroom units shall be deed restricted as affordable for 50 years. B2, paragraph 5B3, which reads, the plaintiff shall provide parking of no less than 172 spaces in accordance with the layout shown, including parking area reserved for potential future public trail access, shall be amended to, the plaintiff shall provide parking of no less than 170 spaces in accordance with the layout shown, including parking area reserved for potential future public trail access. And an additional, oh, do you want me to do a whole additional motion? Or I'll just keep going. And an additional motion to authorize counsel for the commission, Attorney Jennifer Capola, to prepare a written amendment or modification of the stipulation to be executed by the parties in accordance with paragraph 12 of the stipulation based on the approval of the prior motion, and to execute the written amendment or modification on behalf of the commission, and to file said amendment or modification with the motion for entry of same with the court. If in the exercise of its continuing jurisdiction, the court deems such filing to be necessary and to comply with any additional requirements of the court regarding this matter.
Second.
Okay. Further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved.
Last site plan revised architectural.
So again, there are changes that have been made as have been presented by both the architect and counsel for the property owner to the site plan. Many of those changes were brought about by, again, the approval received from OSTA. I do think that there is flexibility within the stipulated judgment with regard to the ability of staff and officials, again, of the town, of the departments, to approve the final site plan, the final settlement plan. But are there any concerns of the commission with regard to what has been proposed tonight, or any particular questions with regard to same? Okay. Then, thank you. I said thank you for her. She wasn't by the record.
Said it simultaneously.
You have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rogan. Further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, so moved. Thank you all for coming. Oh. Oh, good lady. Our phones are school.
We gotta put this to judge.
Does he need to know we've closed? He's still on screen.
No, I just wanted to say thanks. And Tim, if you can hear me, I'll call you tomorrow.
I'll touch base with that. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.